welcome back to the Netherkast. I am Cyborg, and I am joined, as always, by Razor, Shad, and Downforality. This is the crew. This is the original four.
Every week. This
yes.
is what it is.
Oh yeah.
No,
Downforality, will you give us your trademark sup?
So
that's pretty good.
It's like coming home again.
Yes.
It's classic.
Clearly, we are templess once again. Temp had to do other things. I don't know the details, but he should be back eventually sometime. And so what we're going to do is cover, obviously, some Mortal Kombat 11 stuff. I do want to say, first of all, this is episode 101. I want to say episode 100 had some recording issues, so... we might be retreading some information that we covered on episode 100, just some thoughts and opinions on things. We're not going to go through everything, obviously, but we will retread a little bit of that.
It was 10 guys in a hotel room with a single microphone. We did what we could.
Yes, there was 2 turntables as well.
Things just got in the way.
But yes, so we will retread some of that. So if we repeat ourselves a little bit, that is why. On any rate, I'm sure nobody's tired of talking about Mortal Kombat 11 yet. I'm still hyped.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I've kind of been pressing F5 for news for the past week. I don't know. I guess we could talk about Samurai Showdown instead.
Is Cabal out yet? Is that a habit?
oh man, we are so close. What, 6 days, 5 days, something like that?
5 days, I think.
Wednesday,
Starving
right?
for that information.
Yep.
Okay, so
Killing me.
right off the bat, I do want to give some shout-outs to regarding the reveal event. So shout-outs to Jandy, at Jandy on Twitter, Jandy. He is a NetherRealm employee, and he helped me as I played the demo at the event. He gave me like all the info, and he even went above and beyond. Anytime I'd ask one of the helpers to bring him over to me, he was more than helpful with information. He even pointed out certain things to Shad and I that we didn't even ask about. So he was super cool. So shout outs to that dude.
Thanks, Jandy.
Yeah, very, very helpful with the information and learning about this game, because there are some things that weren't made abundantly clear in the actual presentation. So some of the things you just kind of had to figure out for yourself. So he was more than willing to answer all my questions. So thank you very much for that. Shout outs to Steve Baran, who is also super awesome. And we talked to him for about 15 minutes, and he was more than hospitable to us and seemingly genuinely cared about our opinions and thoughts on the game. So shout outs to him.
He was really sweet, and I wanted to talk to him more after we were done. But he was like pinned in by cameras, and they were filming him, and he was talking. We couldn't get anywhere near him at the end.
Yes.
A shame. He was really sweet to us, and yeah.
Shout outs to Mobster for Christ from MKO for giving us drinks, both at the barcade and at the hotel. That was very nice of him to do that. And as well as to Fatalcade and Scott Howell, just for their hospitality when we met up with them at the barcade. So they were very cool.
And also for setting the MK2 cabinet to free play for us.
Yes.
Oh, that's tight.
Yeah, so
Definitely had a lot of fun there. Great back and forth matches.
Yes. Oh, no, that was a ton of fun. So playing some MK2 in person for the first time together was absolutely awesome. So that was very cool. Very appreciative of that. Definitely a highlight of that whole experience for sure. And that's saying something, because MK11, that whole reveal event was amazing. But that night before was very cool. And yeah, just shout outs to everybody else that joined us. Randy, Mr. Cone or MK Cone. He showed up at the event, and I wasn't even sure, like, we weren't even aware he was going, but we saw him in line, so he's in our Discord. So shout outs to him, as well as Cy, Brusque, and Rain Reptiles. So it was nice to hang out with everybody. And yeah, so very cool on that front. And shout outs to everybody at NRS and WB for, welcoming us and having a good time. So I that's definitely a lifetime memory for all of us, I'm sure. So I would not have traded that for anything. It was worth every penny to go there. And yeah, having these awesome hourglass souvenirs.
I mean, we got a combat bus with like a lunatic driver on it dancing around before he even took off, and just playing New Order and shit and headbanging. And I had a really good time on that bus. I didn't want it to stop. It was like a bus of sweet dreams.
yeah, just everything about it was just amazing. They did not disappoint. So it was just, I'm so grateful to have been able to go and to meet each other in person. That was fun to hang out. So yeah, that was definitely an experience that I would not trade for anything. Definitely a highlight of all the years that all of us have been following Mortal Kombat. That is easily, if not the best moment, it's easily top 3 for me personally as a Mortal Kombat fan and a part of the community.
And thank you, Boone Senpai, for letting me shake your hand. I'll never watch it again. Seriously, that was actually a really fun moment for me.
Yes.
Just kind of walked right up and said, thank you for all the years, and fangirled a little bit.
Yeah, being able to meet the creators and all of that was absolutely wonderful. So, yeah, like I said, a lot of things off the bucket list in that regard. So, yeah, all that stuff out of the way. Like I said, this is episode 101. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Check out the Discord if you haven't already. We have a great community on the Discord. We are approaching 400 members on there. So come join this discussion, and you can listen to us live on the Discord as well. And we've got a ton of discussion going on every day. There's rarely a time when people aren't talking. So definitely come check out that and join the community. We'd love to have you. And on that note, let's get to some business. So first thing I want to cover here is before the event, we all made predictions, the 5 of us, Chad, Razor, myself, Temp, and Django. So I want to see how everybody did on their predictions. So we'll start off with Shad. We each made 3 predictions based on what we thought we'd get at the reveal event, and let's cover those. So Shad, starting off with Shad, he had 3 classic stages or more will be shown off. Incorrect. We only got 3 stages, unfortunately.
Well, shit.
And in the flashy reveal,
it depends how you define shown off.
You're right. There was the glimpses we got. We did get what appeared to be the Nether ship. Were there any other classic stages in that?
I mean,
so.
there's some kind of Coliseum going
Yeah.
on. I don't know if it's the MK2 Coliseum. The layout seems a little bit different.
Yeah, the throne is now in an alcove in the wall instead of sitting out in the middle of the sand, and it's got like a green banner hanging down, so it might be a Coliseum that's been redesigned for KotalCon.
Yeah. Okay, so you were close on that, we'll say. And then Shang Tsung is playable in the demo. Incorrect.
Aww.
Scarlet revealed for the roster. Absolutely 100% home run. Nailed it. Damn it,
Thank you. Thank you.
Please don't ever do that again. Oh, jeez. He did it again.
It's creepy, isn't it?
It's a little creepy. I like it.
I'll
I like
stop
it.
Okay, so Shad got 1 out of 3. Close on another one as well. So congrats to him. Moving on to Razor. He said 8 characters in the demo playable. Incorrect. He was close. We got 7.
I was close.
Damn.
So
1 off.
Very close.
Yeah.
Sub-Zero is in the demo. A bit of a safe pick, but you nailed it.
Well, you guys were guessing Sub-Zero wouldn't be at the show.
I said that. I think
I
everyone else thought
I said no such thing.
Yeah, I was the only one I think that was dumb enough to make that prediction. And then your third one was 3 trilogy characters will be shown off. Sub, Scorp, and Raiden. 3 non-trilogy and 2 new would be making up that gameplay thing. So
That was wrong.
yeah, I think we all kind of fell hard on the characters playable and what we were expecting from that.
We only got 1 non-trilogy if you count Scarlet, and 1 new.
All right, and then my predictions. I said Sub-Zero will not be revealed. Dead wrong. There will be.
I don't know why you did that.
I took a chance. All right, I took a chance. Didn't they in the MK9 originally not show one of them Scorpion? I think. Sub-Zero, I can't remember.
Sure it
I
was
think
there.
Scorpion was there.
Pretty sure.
Whatever.
Not the gameplay reveal. He was showing the cinematic.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my second one was there will be some legacy gameplay, more from some characters than others. I don't think there's any legacy that I noticed.
Didn't pick up on any.
A lot of it seemed pretty from the ground up, pretty new, even the animations. So we're definitely not, at least not at this point, not at this current time. No pun intended. We are not seeing any legacy.
Possible that Geras reuses some dark side animations, but that's not MK.
Yeah, that's fair.
I could have sworn that I saw Scorpion dropping a firebomb with the exact same animation Smoke used.
He does. He
It's
does.
Yep.
Okay,
It
so there
looks
might
a
be
lot
some
like Smoke.
legacy
I don't know if
moves or
it's
animations.
reused frame by frame or if it's just the same motion mocapped again.
It looks like the same motion, but I don't know.
Interesting. Either way,
mean,
that's
I'm
not
just
what I
like-
was.
I mean,
That's
he
not what
does-
I was
Yeah.
implying.
Spitballing
Regardless,
here.
I was thinking more characters would have some of the same strings and gameplay they did in the prior game to save on some resources and time to allow for more characters. Clearly, that is not the case.
Yeah, no, all the
that was my
prediction. Normals have been changed.
Thank God.
And then my third prediction was select screen will feature a vertical roster and will be colorful, more personality to the characters, and going to be super satisfying. And I do think I'm going to give myself credit on that one because it was vertical.
I mean, it is
more
vertical.
colorful.
I think you deserve like a little more than like half points off of that one. It's vertical. There's a bit more personality to
There's
everyone.
personality.
Although,
Yes.
I like when you select the characters like Baraka does some like cool ass shit. When
Yeah, they're not all facing
blades.
forward. It's not mug shots. They're actually
there's some angles going on. There's definitely more
Yeah.
variety than there was in X.
So yeah, I got that right at least. I figured, you know what, they've kind of had a pattern of switching between vertical and horizontal, so I figured it was overdue for vertical. So yeah. So far we've each, I believe, had one correct. Razor got Sub-Zero's in the demo, Shad got Scarlet revealed for the roster, and I got the select screen. All right, moving on to Temp. Temp had 3 3D era characters, and one will be Fujin.
Oh my sweet summer child, no.
He crashed and burned on that one.
I believe you were mocking him at the time.
He said a character redesign will be very polarizing, mostly negative. I don't
feel like
You know what? A lot of people are not fun of Sub's new hat.
Yeah, I'd about to
That's
say
so-
It's
That's
not
about it.
just the hat. He's wearing like giant Lin Kuei logo shoulder pads.
yeah.
That's the
They look
wonky thing. That's
Those are
the
Ridiculous
bizarre thing.
cartoon bullshit.
yeah. I mean, if
That's
anybody,
wrong.
Also, I have seen some people who don't like Scarlet's full body covered up desert thing.
Yes,
That's
but
true.
those aren't people. They're basement dwellers.
and those are, I wouldn't say that's the majority. I think I think what he was thinking is there's going to be somebody that gets redesigned that the majority are going to hate, and I don't think that's the case. Closest one would be Sub, so that's kind of that's hard to say. And then his last prediction is Smoke is going to be playable, which obviously is not correct. Smoke might not even be on the main roster. And then
There's still a lot of time. Folding my arms, stomping my foot.
New prediction: Smoke's not in the game.
yeah.
I have been in the same room as you, and I can now track you by scent.
What the hell?
Say these things.
That's not gonna put Smoke in the game. You need to track Ed.
I just don't want to hear it. Don't put these ideas into my head. I still got a chance.
All
I
right,
still got a chance.
all right. You're allowed to dream.
All right, and then finally, Django Nightwolf is playable in the demo. Not correct. He once again may not even be in the game. Hopefully, he is.
I feel like Nightwolf's got a lot better shot than Smoke.
so.
Yeah, it's so
I
difficult.
don't
We're gonna talk.
like where you're.
We'll talk
your
about the
words.
roster. We will cover the
The
roster.
filthy words.
That is a sticking
them.
point that's
Look,
still
I want
relevant.
Smoke. I'm just likeliness.
Django's second one, no tag mode. He is correct on that one.
Which fucking sucks.
Yeah,
We
that
already
does suck.
know.
And then the last one is will hate the character select theme, or will hate the character select screen theme. Yeah.
I'm not
Honestly,
sure.
I
there
didn't
was
even
one.
notice it. Yeah.
Like, if you go check out a couple of those videos that our good buddies from MKO have put up that have absolutely no commentary, you can hear that there's actually a couple of different variations on the theme. There's like a few different versions of songs. And although I do like the majority of the music that I've heard from the stages, that is, so far,
Me too.
gotta say, the character select screen, it's... I think we're all waiting for that, like, catchy, like, percussion and, like, rhythm-driven hype music to come back at a select screen, and that's just not happening again this time. This has more akin to an MKX downtone feeling.
It's more
That's disappointing.
ominous than it is hype. It's just kind of there in the background. It's hard to even notice at some points.
It's more musical than MKX was, because MKX was hardly much of anything at all in terms of sound. But, like, It's just not hype music.
Yeah, I didn't notice
There
anything.
needs to be
I
melody.
didn't notice it.
It's true. There needs to be melody, not mood, not just mood.
So he got that prediction right. He did acknowledge that this is a bit of a safe pick, so I put a little asterisk here on what his additional pick to that was, is that there'd be a new ninja character, which he failed miserably on. So overall, we each had one correct. Once again,
I had a guy. I had a guy who just saw a bunch of the screenshots who's like only casually into MK sometimes, and he's like, "Who is that new white ninja?"
Exactly, right?
You know?
Yeah. So we each had one right. Django technically had two with the select screen theme, so he played a little bit safe, but technically he did get the most right on his predictions. So shout outs to Django for that. And then the other thing I wanted to follow up on is the Mortal Kombat 11 fantasy draft, which if you don't know what that is, we originally, before E3, did a fantasy draft, much like you would do a fantasy football draft, except for ours was based on the roster and the characters that would make it in the reveal and the ones that would make it into the actual roster as well as DLC. They were all attributed certain point values based on how likely they are. So someone like Sub-Zero is worth 1 point, whereas Scarlet was worth 4 points. Someone like, say, Drawman is worth 6 points. So it's based on likelihood of being in the game. 8 of us competed in this, and it's ongoing. There's Shad, Razor, Temp, and myself, of course, the main Nethercast crew, along with secret character Django, Down Ferality, Brusque, and Sai. So we did this back before E3, so some things have changed, but our picks didn't. So in the Discord itself, there is a channel dedicated to this, text channel, MK11 Fantasy Draft, so you can see what everybody picked. I have the 2 pictures at the top. You can see what everybody picked, what each character is worth, and as well as what the modifiers are at the bottom of that first screenshot, what the modifiers are. So for making it into the reveal, it was worth 3 points, like 3 times their point value. So somebody that picked Scarlet, for example, and they guessed they'd be in the initial gameplay reveal, that was worth times 3 their point value. So 4 times 3 was obviously worth some decent points versus someone like Sub-Zero only worth 1 point times 3. Doesn't net you as much because it's not as bold of a prediction. So you can follow along with the points there, but I will tell you what we are all currently at. So following the actual gameplay reveal, and when I say gameplay reveal, I did not count the trailer where it showed brief glimpses of, all the other characters like Kung Lao and stuff like that. I did not count them as being part of the actual gameplay reveal. I only counted the ones that we actually were in the gameplay demo, but I did count them as being in the game, clearly. So I don't think anybody's going to dispute Liu Kang and Kung Lao as being part of the roster at this point. So the points break down as this. We have in the lead Temp with 35 points. He jumped way up there.
Damn.
He had, and the reason why is because he had both Scarlet and Baraka predicted to be in the gameplay reveal. So how he guessed that, I have no idea, but
how the fuck?
I think that he kind of wound up with Scarlet, like, as we were winding down, because remember, it wasn't all about the choices we wanted. At some point, it was who was left.
No, Scarlet was his 6th pick on his roster of 20 characters, or 19 characters each. He picked her 6th.
Okay.
Yep. And Brusque also picked his 2nd pick. Her. Yeah, he's big into Scarlet. So he picked her on his roster as well. He did not have Baraka, so he didn't get those additional points for Baraka. But Temp is first with 35 points. Brusque is just behind him with 34 points. Razor is now fallen into 3rd with 23 points. Down 4, now you are at 4th with 21 points, right behind
damn.
Razor.
I thought I was going to be bottom.
No, it gets worse. Shad is in 5th place with 19 points.
Thank God fucking did.
Django is in 6th place with 13 points, and both Sai and I are tied for dead last, 7th place at 5 points.
Damn.
A big reason that is a lot of the characters that are on my list now, like I'm going through them, there's about 4 or 5 that are likely to be in the game. They're rumored to be in the game. They're even like a Rain or someone like that, but I cannot count them because we do not know for sure whether they're in there.
Did you count Cabal for?
Yes, not the gameplay reveal, but for being in the actual game, yes, because he's confirmed by this point. So listing off the characters that I did account for, because I have a list. I have that listed in there as well as what each person, like how each person's points got accumulated. I have that all listed there. If you're curious and you're listening to this, you can go check that out. But the characters accounted for so far. So if these are accounted for, you're not getting any more points for them because you already got your points for them. Scorpion, Raiden, Sub-Zero, Sonya, Baraka, Scarlet, Liu Kang, Kung Lao, Cassie, Katana, and Cabal. Those are all the ones that I think we can all be pretty damn safe are going to be on the roster. Awaiting confirmation, these 3 are likely to be on the roster, but I made a judgment call to not count them quite yet, and that is Johnny Cage, Rain, and Kano. All 3 of which I have on mine, so I don't have the points yet, but I think I'll get them eventually. So I'll at least jump out of last place, hopefully, and then leave Ishii in the dust. But because Ishii, unfortunately, has some, he's got some questionable picks. When he re-looked back at his roster, he was a little scared. But yes, so yeah,
can't let that hope get into your eyes.
So yeah, solid jump there for Temp and Brusque, especially. So we all kind of got a spread out a bit more just because of the, like I said, if you predicted them, you could only pick 7 on your list for this. So it wasn't just about drafting that character. It was also about predicting them to be in either the reveal trailer or the reveal gameplay. And yeah, so we each picked 7 on our list, and that was worth the most points you can ever get, which is ×3. On the roster is worth ×2. So obviously Scarlet and Baraka, one worth 4 points and one worth 3 points, was worth huge points for Temp. That was.
I want to re-listen to his logic on why he.
Yeah, I'm curious too. That's a good idea, because yeah, I'm curious. So other things you can get points for are if they make it on DLC, they're worth 1 point or 1 times their point value. If you predicted them as the boss, they're worth 2 times their point value. And the other one is story cameo, and that is worth half their points. So not a whole lot there. So really, Temp and Brusque definitely have a solid lead that is going to be hard for some of us to come back from, especially someone like me who's only got 5 points. I need to somehow pull like 35 points out of my ass to even stand a chance.
I'd say it's not over till it's over, but I think the jig's already up for me. The only people I have on my list who I think even have a shot are Noob Saibot, and maybe Shiva has an outside chance, because it would be weird to have an MK without a Shokan.
Yeah, I would, and here's the thing about Temp is a lot of his, like, he's already kind of blown his obvious load other than Jade. Jade is the only other one that I would say is super likely. Other than that, some of his, Lee May, Ashra, Natara, Nightwolf, Sector, Kentaro, Blaze, Reptile, that's a crapshoot there. There's maybe 1 or 2 of them make it on. I wouldn't be surprised, but he's got a lot of his points already accounted for, which obviously gave him a strong lead. But someone like me, I still have several characters that stand really good chances or are pretty much confirmed, but they're only going to be worth 2 times their point value instead of the 3 that the initial gameplay reveals. So that's kind of how it's going to break down. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, especially between the top 4 there, top 5 even. Temp through Shad are all within a distance that could still be changing by the end of this. Regardless, you can check those out.
I've got Ferritor and Cobra and Cyborg and Chameleon and Motaro and Jarek.
I think
I'm just gonna say goodnight.
Well, those are
say goodnight. It's done for me.
Those are the bottom of the bin for you. You've still got Smoke and Fujin to drive some points there. Sindel possibly, Melina, Jax. You still got some people on there.
Melina, there's some solid DLC points.
But yeah, so check those out, guys, and we'll keep updating that as we learn more characters on the roster and so on and so forth. So far, it's just for bragging rights. We didn't really come up with a prize. It may be too late for that, but I was thinking we all pitch in to buy the person like the combat pack or whatever, but it doesn't matter. We can, at the end of the day, it could just be for bragging points. With that said, though, let's get into some actual Mortal Kombat 11 discussion now that we got kind of the business taken care of.
Yeah.
Man, okay, so loving this game, first of all. We all are loving this game, and most of what we've seen and shown gameplay-wise, us three got to play it. D4, what are you feeling? You haven't really got a chance to voice your opinion yet. How are you feeling about this game from all perspectives? Gameplay, visually, the characters you're seeing. What do you got?
Well, like the past like few weeks, I had been so negative and just like down. I didn't think the game would be like just as impressive as it is. Like
Yeah.
everything looks fucking amazing. They did the one thing I wanted them to do is just scrap X and go with a fresh new slate, and God, did they delivered on like all fronts.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, I agree. They went above and beyond what I expected as well. I think they did for all of us, really, to be honest. From a story perspective, if you're a big story guy like Razor and Shad and others that are, in our community, most people didn't expect him to go down this road. We hoped for it, we theorized it, but as going back to the reveal trailer, for them to pull that trigger, I think that was a really like above and beyond what we even expected them to do. So from that perspective, we were pretty hyped. From a gameplay perspective, however, like holy cow, like all of the things Temp was listing from, addressing the mix-ups, addressing run versus dash, addressing like things like neutral jump punches, things that people didn't even really talk about too much in terms of a major complaint, but I know it's something that not everybody's a fan of. So changing that up, getting rid of the breakers in favor of flawless block. It's just so many crazy things like that. And then we got rid of X-rays in favor of fatal blows. We have crushing blows added in there. We have the change from meter burn to the enhanced version. Amplify, which we'll talk about that a little more in depth and share some thoughts, because I know there is some disagreement on that, and I'd be curious to get everyone's opinion. But just overall, this game really has just excelled in every possible way. For the most part, I guess. There is still one contention with the roster that we're not entirely sure how that shakes out, but even that I've gotten a little bit more, I guess, faith on, because we're still going to get some favorites. And even though I hope for more trilogy and 3D era characters that sat out in X to see them again, or the ones that have just been really underutilized that I'd love to see back, I hope we get more of those. And it's looking like with only 25 characters on the default select screen that we're aware of, that may not be the case, but we're at least getting some. So, I mean, there's still some spots to be revealed, but the fact that we got Baraka, Scarlet, and Cabal has given me at least some good faith that, say the likely noob, Shang and Jade, and then you add in maybe an additional 3 or 4 favorites on top of that we didn't get in X. I think there's 1 or 2 3D era characters, but as we've discussed before, maybe those come through DLC. I know Razor has been mentioning that he thinks it's mostly going to be MK9 characters centered, just to kind of see the new timeline versus the old timeline versions of themselves, which makes sense. It lines up with the story. And then that way you can save the DLC for the 3D era characters that aren't as storyline essential this time, because a lot of them haven't even been introduced in the new timeline, which makes sense. So I still hope to see maybe 1 or 2 make the initial roster, like a Fujin, Frost, Ashura, which Ashura is a weird case where like her stock kind of rose. Like I didn't even think she was at all likely, but then I guess there's still that mystery of that right panel on the menu screen. Is that Ashura in that learn panel or whatever, or not? And if it is, you combine that with Ed Boon's weird tweet of 11% chance, which could mean absolutely nothing, as it usually does. But I don't know. It's just odd.
I kind of feel like we're really, really reaching there.
Yeah, I kind of feel that way too.
I'd like her too. I mean, she's not my favorite choice out of all the 3D characters, but I don't know. That just kind of looks like a wonky Raiden to me, and just the angles and
if you really,
I'm not seeing the veil.
If you look at the context of the picture, it's either Raiden or Ashura. Their body is mostly blocked by the text, but they're looking at a Liu Kang who's training. So really ask yourself, who would be watching Liu Kang train?
Clearly Ashura.
I mean, I don't even think
she's got to check him for demons. He's full of demons these days.
From a color perspective, I can see why people think it's Ashura. Like
the hat
like wearing
does
yellow.
Look more like Ashura's hat. Like it's sort of
right.
flat, and it's got like this rim lined with like kanji or some kind of symbols, and Raiden's hat usually doesn't have symbols along it, and Ashra's does. So I can see why someone would think it.
And it's also the color, like in the actual image. I mean, it's stylized, so take it for what it's worth. But the outfit looks white, and it does appear to have like a golden sash hanging down. So I can see why people think it is Ashra. I can't guarantee it is. I don't even know how I feel about it. I've gone both ways in the sense of at times I thought it's Raiden, at times I thought it's Ashra, and even at times I thought maybe Kung Lao, because that makes a way more sense to be watching Liu Kang train. But I have no idea.
Whoever it is, they're wearing white, so probably not Kung Lao.
This is just desperation at its finest.
Yes,
I mean,
it's becoming apophenia.
I wouldn't get your hopes up over that.
No, I know I'm not getting my hopes up for Ashra. But is it a possibility? Yes, of course. But no, I didn't think even leading up to it that she stood much of a chance. I didn't know from a story direction what she would be doing. Plus, from a popularity direction, she's got fans, but she's never been in like the top 5 3D era characters ever she's lucky to even make top 10.
From a story direction, she's almost the 3D era character who makes the most sense because of all the footage we've seen of Dark Raiden attacking in the Netherrealm.
So you're saying she's confirmed? Fuck yes!
That's exactly what I'm saying.
That's all I need to hear.
There's room, you know? She could be an interesting character to pit up against demonic versions of the heroes that we all know and love, and she could be a nice monkey wrench in the works to stab someone that we love because they're a demon, and killing demons will help her ascend to the exit of the Netherrealm.
Yeah, that was her whole thing. It seems like Raiden and Sonya are gonna attack Hell, and like the Revenant Liu Kang's kingdom is gonna be like a big part of the story. So maybe, I don't actually think it's very likely that Ashra's gonna make it in, but she certainly has more of a leg to stand on.
Yes, I agree with that.
Li Mei or Havoc.
There's room.
I agree with that.
But you'd have to ingratiate her with the existing cast. And it feels
you just say that they met her off screen a long time ago. Like Jax has apparently met Serena whenever the fuck that happened.
I mean, they've already been to the Netherrealm. It's possible that they met her at that time. But that's where I'm coming from. I don't think she's in the game. I don't think she's confirmed by a long shot. But at the same time, I think her chances have gone up with the story direction they're taking and with the menu art, whether that means anything. You add all that up, she at least has a better chance than she did when I originally thought. I would not have pegged her as a possibility here, whereas now I think she is a possibility. I don't know what percentage that is. Is it even above 50%? No idea. Not even really.
Well, it's 11%.
Yeah, it's 11%. You're right.
It's exactly 11%.
I would still give Havoc better odds just based on Raiden's little pre-fight quote alone.
Oh, I think that's a joke about the comic, that Scorpion's basically saying only an idiot would think the Chaos Realm is a threat.
So that's Kittle shitting on his own comic? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, I think it's character. That's what Scorpion's opinion is, not what his writer's opinion is.
I mean, we'll talk about the roster here a little more. Speaking of, so breaking this down, Razor, you're echoing.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
I heard an echo.
I can see my avatar not
lighting up.
What are you saying?
What the fuck was that?
I don't even know what's going on, but don't you fucking talk back to me. All right. So, anyways, continuing on with the roster. Okay, so basically with the roster, I'm at a point where I think we have 6 slots that are unaccounted for, and I want to run down who I think is on the roster based on all the information we've received. And then I want to know who everybody would fill with those last 6 spots, because roster is something everybody obviously speculates on, talks about, gets hyped over, gets worried about. We're all in kind of the same boat, and we hope for the best, whoever that best may end up being. That is subjective. So here's how I see it. I see Theoretically, we're getting 26 characters on the base roster, and that is including Shao Kahn as pre-order DLC. So here's the characters I have accounted for based on logic and the ones that are already confirmed. So we have the 7 that we had in the demo. So we have Scorpion, Raiden, Sub-Zero, Scarlet, Baraka, Sonya, Liu Kang. Then I also have accounted for Kitana, Kung Lao, Cassie, Johnny, based on the fatality picture and the background picture. Kano, just from feeling like he's going to fit in this game, and the menu art as well. I just go with it if you disagree. Cabal and Jade for obvious reasons. Noob for obvious reasons. Shang for obvious reasons. I don't think any of us are doubting them. Garrus, if I didn't say him already. And Rain, who I think, once again, why feature him in that menu art if he's not playing a role? And fan demand and all of that, I just think, okay, let's just say Rain's in. So with all that under consideration, and we'll say Kronika's playable just for this, just because I'd rather limit our spots that we have to choose from than assume that we have an additional one if she's not playable. And that's also worth discussing too, whether we think she is. So
well, I think it's likely she's playable. There is the possibility that she will add a box rather than being one of the 25, but that's a long shot.
Possibly, yeah.
If tradition holds, she'll have a normal standard playable form and a souped-up evil boss.
What I'm saying that based on is the first time we saw the select screen for MKX, it was 2 boxes short, and those 2 boxes ended up being Goro and Shinnok.
Okay.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
So that leaves a chance for a little bit more there. Okay, so we'll say 26 on the starting roster, including Kronika and Shao Kahn. And 26 purely just because I think that will make for a nice box at the end of the day. So let me copy this picture and put it in the chat just so we can all kind of work from that same information, because sometimes it's hard to follow. I put that in the Netherkast chat so that way it doesn't get buried. It's in the show Q&A Netherkast chat. So there's that select screen mock-up with those characters filled in. Ignore the DLC picks. We're not going to worry about those. Question marks. So if we had 6 characters left to fill out this roster, and I'm going to say you need at least one female, because just to meet their sort of quota of 1/3 to 1/4 of the roster generally ends up being female. You need at least one of those 6 to be female, and you can do more if you'd like. You need one to be female. Who would you choose to fill that roster up? Because I feel like we're all going to be coming from slightly different places. I will go first, give you guys time to think. I'm going to say Ashra for the female, just because we just talked about her, and I think she'd be a wild card pick that would surprise people. So Ashra, Fujin, and those would be my 2 3D era representatives. Kind of get that out of the way, also because I just think you got to have Fujin in there, right? So Ashra and Fujin. And I'm going to say Cyrax as my 3rd, Smoke as my 4th, 5th. So where it gets a little tricky, I want to say Kodal, just because I think it'd be odd to really drop a character with that much potential. Well, I don't know potential, but either way, he's got fans, and I don't like the idea of just dropping him right after the next game. And then after Kodal, that last spot, that's a tricky one. Got a couple characters I wouldn't mind seeing there, but I'll go Aaron Black, sure. We'll throw in another MKX guy in there, so that way I feel like that would go pretty far. I don't think I left anybody out that's super obvious, but I might be forgetting. So who wants to go next?
All right. I guess I can go next.
You volunteer, I pick you.
I was silent because I was making my choices of 5.
Yeah.
That's fine. It's 6.
Okay, so I don't actually have a female name on mine, because I feel like Kitana, Jade, Sonya, Scarlet, Kronika, it feels like there's not a hard rule that it has to be 1/6.
All right. I mean, if you want to leave that out, that's fine.
I mean, these are not the 6 I would want. Sure. I'm just gonna say these are 6 names, and the fact that there are 6 of these names feels like it doesn't leave a lot of room.
Oh, that's who. Okay, forget I said Aaron Black. Nightwolf. I knew I was forgetting somebody that I really wanted on there.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So my prediction for the last 6 is Sector, Cyrax, Reptile, Ermac, Jax, Nightwolf.
Okay. So you said Sector, Cyrax, Reptile, Ermac, Jax, and Nightwolf.
Is this who we think or who we want?
This is who I think. This is not who I want.
When I'm
thinking of MK9 characters who I feel like they either want to bring back because they weren't in X or they consider essential.
Okay. So just to preface or to answer what Shad said, my understanding of what I want from you guys is a mixture of both. Who do you want? Who do you think would be great for those last 6 spots? But you also got to keep it within the realm of reality.
Who do I want?
If you mark them all 6 as characters that would never happen, then it's like it kind of defeats the purpose. So it's more of a mixture, like characters that you'd like to see, but also characters that you think are somewhat realistic. They got to at least have any sort of reasonable chance. Listing Dairu, Darius, and all those characters probably not gonna happen, so it's probably not worth discussing.
Why you make them sound like they're illegitimate choices?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I apologize. All right. So Razor went more in the MK9 direction, trying to finish out a lot of those. Understandable.
I mean that was who I predict. Do you want who I want?
Like I said, mixture. Do you want to change any of those based on?
In that case, drop Reptile and Ermac and add Kodal and let's say Li Mei.
Interesting. Why do you say Li Mei?
Because she has 2 radically different forms in the 2 different timelines.
Sure.
There's an old housewife and there's Onaga's girlfriend.
Unfortunately. Yes. So that makes sense. I would like to see Li Mei. Obviously, Temp is still crossing his fingers. If he doesn't get Li Mei or Smoke on the base roster, I'm going to be a little upset for him. So I hope he at least gets one. I think Smoke obviously has the higher chance. But okay, so that's mine and Razor's list. Shad, do you want to go next?
Yep. Smokey, smoked meat.
Is meat your final answer?
No.
Okay,
seriously. Smoke, Fujin, Havoc, Aaron Black, Cyrax, Frost.
Okay, so let me go over those. Smoke, Fujin, Havoc, Aaron, Frost, and who was the other one?
Cyrax.
How could I forget a guy like that? Okay.
Beats me, man.
Nice, I like it. So far, I don't think I'd be upset with any of ours, other than Razor leaving out Smoke, which
it's not gonna happen. I want him, but it's never gonna happen.
You don't even think as DLC, or do you think in?
Why are you so adamant?
Okay, DLC maybe. DLC maybe.
Okay.
I find your lack of faith
I
disturbing.
believe that NRS is actively resistant to giving Smoke storyline.
Interesting.
I feel like it's a running joke. Like they're not doing it out of malice. It's just kind of a thing.
All right, down 4. What do you got?
All right, I got Fujin, Cyrax, Li Mei, Nightwolf, and Aaron and Kodal. This is like optimistic. I don't know if I really believe some of these, but
okay. So you said Fujin, Cyrax, Li Mei, Nightwolf, Aaron, and Kodal.
Yeah. I was debating between Frost and Li Mei, but I just don't know where Frost will fit in.
Yeah, that's...
Razor made a good point about Li Mei, so I changed it.
That is the question. I think it's interesting that Serena just kind of fell off. Why do you think
I don't see her making it.
Well, here's the thing.
Tell us about the thing.
We need like a sound
effect.
effect.
Do you do
like
it on purpose?
A soundboard. Here's the thing.
Okay,
is it unconscious?
10% of the time I do it on purpose. The other 90%, that's actually just how I talk.
Those aren't even close percentages either. Like, that is an overwhelming majority.
I know, right? I almost never notice myself saying it. The problem with Serena is just that the reason I want her is so Sub-Zero can get a new storyline. And I don't see them giving Sub-Zero much screen time. Period.
Interesting. All right. Yeah, I don't think Serena's gonna make it unless she's DLC, which I think she'd be a great DLC option. I think
Excellent
she would.
candidate.
Yeah, I think she would have the like badass factor, much like Scarlet won a lot of people over with her new design. I think Serena would obviously do a lot of that same stuff, especially if they gave her like gameplay, like razors laid out with like demon hand, like a giant claw coming out and stuff like that she could do in her normals and her specials. I think there's a lot of things you could do with her to separate her from Scarlet, but that's sort of my concern with her is from a design perspective. Female that wears primarily black and red. I know that's like a very base like logic. I don't think Frost is out just because she looks like a female Sub-Zero. So it's not that Serena and Scarlet couldn't exist.
I actually, thinking about it, I think Frost is probably more likely than Lee May. But again, Lee May was a what I want pick, not a what I expect.
I've got good reason to believe she'll be back.
I have this dumb prediction that they're gonna do something just so Ed gets his cyber sub boner, where like Frost ends up back in time and is pushed in the way of the cyber ninjas grabbing at Sub-Zero, so they convert her instead of him.
That would be awful.
Yeah, that'd be
just grabs her, hold guy, go giddy, throws her towards the cyber ninjas.
Yeah,
knocks sub away.
So that those story is retcon that he was never a robot, but Ed still gets his fucking ice robot.
Everyone does ask for a female cyborg, so
please.
Yeah, but that's not the one I want.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, that'd be
what are your other choices?
Characters? Stop turning people into robots and just make new robots.
Why do you like to see me hurt?
Dude, do this? You just gave me the idea of Cyber Sindel, and I'm kind of turned on.
What the hell is going on here? No, please do not do that. I mean, if it's cool and it's badass, I'm not gonna hate it just on concept.
It would be like Superman 3, only really hot.
My biggest problem with a cyber version of Frost is we already had Cyber Sub. She's already enough like Sub-Zero. We do not need to double down like that. We do not need to.
That's what I'm saying. Ed's sitting there and he's like, man, they won't let me have my blue robot. I want my blue robot. You know what? Everybody complains Frost is too much like Sub. If we put all the robot Sub moves on her.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I think you mentioning Ed in like episodes is like a weekly thing now. It always happens somewhere.
I picture
Notice me, senpai.
I literally picture him as Lex Luthor sitting in his fucking office and like twiddling his fingers and be like, yes, yes.
You paint these pictures in your mind. I don't understand.
That's what I see when I think of Ed Boon.
All right. So I want Frost in the game.
Dude, he took a picture with last week.
I want Frost in the game. I would love for her. I mean, I'd prefer her to be DLC than have her be used like that in story, because I just think that's silly. Granted, if her gameplay is really awesome, I'm not going to complain, but I want Frost as I know her. I want her like Deadly Alliance Frost. They can completely change up her entire moveset to all these new ice shit. I do not care. But if you mess with her design, like, I don't know. That would be really, really odd if they did something like that. Really left field. Regardless, so we got all of our hopes / logic picks for those last 6 characters. Most of us are on the same path here. Cyrax made all of our lists. Nightwolf made 3 of our lists. Fujin made 3 of our lists. So there are
You left out Fujin.
Razor.
Wow. You're a bitch.
Dude, I didn't.
Now you made him flustered.
Again, those picks were who I think, not who I want.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's a dance. Yeah. Regardless, there is some overlap. There is definitely some overlap between our lists, and I hope it's down 4 left out Smoke too. Man,
I want Smoke. I really want Smoke, but just with the limited slots,
you
I just
had to
don't
get
see
Aaron
it.
in there, didn't you?
Isn't there like
Or Baker, dude. He's back.
there's like a nondescript ninja dude on the menu, and I don't think I've seen anyone talk about who that might be.
I mean, I think it's just a generic ninja. It doesn't look like Smoke to me. I don't know.
But like everyone's everyone else there is like kind of very specifically someone.
That's true.
And also,
it's just-
it's a gray ninja. It is really odd. And it's the character screen. That's what that menu choice is. It says
Yeah,
Oh, it
character.
is? That's
It's really
weird.
odd to say characters and have it be the most like generic, non-actual character.
Didn't they say that they deliberately left in those teases on like the screens and shit, like
Oh,
Kano
absolutely.
and Rain and all
Well, I'm
that?
sure they
They-
put it there on
They
a
totally
reason,
want
but
people
yeah.
speculating
Yeah.
and like Rain being up on like Sonic Fox's screen is not a mistake.
No,
That was weird.
He knew what he was
Yeah.
doing. They even said in the commentary, 16-bit was like, well, I mean, Rain's not like he said. You got to pick from characters that are like existing now. He's not currently in our
Oh, really?
like build or something like that. He even said something to the degree like he's not an option right now. Like
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
he didn't. It's not like a confirmation by
Yeah,
any means,
yeah,
but
it's
just
just
the way
that's-
it's the way he said it made it almost infer that he's in the game, but that's not an option. Like we haven't revealed him or anything. Like he said basically you can only pick from the characters that we've revealed. But yeah, so just odd in general that whole thing because it wasn't just Rain. Who was the other one? Was it Cabal
Jade.
or Jade? Yeah, Jade was the other one.
I didn't see Jade mentioned, but I've heard there was some talk about her.
She was on somebody's pick,
I think it was
another pro
Tweez.
player. Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, both of those, I wouldn't be surprised by both of them at this point. Jade, especially not, but Rain.
Jade is in. There's no way.
I've always just assumed Jade because 2 games in a row they hinted Chronica using Jade. It would be super weird
Yeah, it's
to not
gotta-
have Jade in
He's
the
gotta
final.
be in.
And-
And not even just like the popularity, just the Chronica thing and popularity.
Like I take it for granted Jade is in this game.
Also, weapon system. She'd be perfect.
yeah. It's just, I don't think they're going to tease any characters in the menu that they're not going to deliver as actual fighters. That's why I'm pretty positive that Kano is a selectable fighter because why feature him on the 1v1 fight menu screen if he's not an actual character you can play as? That just seems super counterintuitive. Like, you can say things about... There's already people that complain about fighting a character in story mode and not having them playable, or them showing up as a cameo in story as too much of a tease. Literally putting them in the menu art that says 1v1 fight, and it's 2 characters facing off, one of them playable and the other one's not. That, to me, is the ultimate, like, false advertising, so to speak. So
I can picture someone like getting the game and being like, "Oh, Kano's in," and then like
right.
looking at the roster, like, "What the fuck?" Like,
There's no Kano.
yeah.
But yeah, so I think that would be silly. DLC picks, we're not going to go over those, obviously, because that's such a wild card that we don't even know who the roster is. But I hope some of these characters that we put on our list spill over to DLC that couldn't make it on the list. If Smoke doesn't make it in the base roster for some reason, he's got to be DLC. Lee May is less likely, so if she doesn't make it on the main roster, there's just certain characters I don't envision being like these awesome, badass-looking characters that your casual fan's gonna see on a marketplace page and be like, "Oh, I have to buy this character." I like Lee May. Don't get me wrong; she's one that I've been pulling for, and I loved playing her in Deadly Alliance, but.
She's just not main roster material this time around.
Well, I mean, she's just not somebody that's gonna sell, like in my opinion. If you put a trailer of Lee May, unless they completely redesign her moveset to make her do these badass things, like they're not gonna go for cartwheel chick that does sparklers. I don't know.
I mean, was Bo
I would argue
Raichu-
Bo Raichu wasn't going to sell
Yeah.
either. At that point, it's about selling the pack, not an individual.
Fair. It is. You're right. The pack is kind of. I mean, that's what the guest character is there for, is to basically seal the deal. Like, oh, I'll buy for these 2 characters and then just get these other ones anyways. Like, I get that, but then even like, why even boast about guest character sales being individually like these characters sold the most when if it's about the pack? I don't know.
That's true.
I don't know.
It's hard. I have no idea.
Yeah, I could see it both ways, but who knows even how much Bo sold on his own? I don't know.
Probably shitty. I would guess.
But yeah, other characters. Nightwolf is another one that if he doesn't make it the main roster, I'd love to see him as DLC. He definitely.
I'd
has
really
that look.
hope he.
Yeah.
I think he would fit this game so well.
Absolutely, 100% agree. I think he would be just an awesome. Like I can close my eyes and visually see him in my mind on that screen fighting. Like that's just his design fits this aesthetic, the colors everything. The big characters on there, the backgrounds. I think just it all fits his style. The no run, just more of the footsie game, stuff like that. The neutral game.
I can picture like his shoulder being like a crushing blow, or the axes or whatever. Like
exactly.
And Cabal being in gave me more hope for like him and Cyrax or some of the other MK3 characters.
I hope. I really do hope. But anyways,
being Cabal confirmed that early was such a fucking weight off my shoulders. I was like, oh my god.
Well, not just that. Like, this is my complaints coming out of the reveal event. Is we were all thinking, okay, we're gonna get like 10 characters confirmed, and we did technically get 10 plus characters confirmed if you count like the story, like the little cutscenes that pretty much guarantee. Like Liu Kang, we know for sure is in the game because they actually showed him stage fighting Raiden. So. But we expected more to be playable, and like announced in that sense, and we didn't. We only got 7, so it was kind of. And then the other ones that we like got announced that weren't playable, that were in that story trailer, they were all like MKX characters. They were all characters returning from X. So I was really hoping to see some returnees from Trilogy and 3D era that were gonna really, give us that hype factor, really sell the whole thing, like Fujin obviously would have. So Scarlet and Baraka were definitely carrying the brunt of that, but them at least hinting and essentially confirming Cabal added to that. Like having those 3 definitely has given me more faith. Like, okay, we can still expect at least a few more favorites to make this roster. Shine.
we're well and truly in the era of popular legacy characters are always going to make up the base roster for any major game going forward.
Right. They got,
But there's still plenty of room to grow.
It made the roster so much harder to predict, too, because no one saw Scarlet coming.
Yeah.
And I think people expected Baraka, but, like, not this early, I think.
Yeah, they didn't expect him to
a bit later.
Yeah, they didn't expect them to lead with Baraka as one of the premier characters that they start off with, which makes so much sense seeing his gameplay, which by the way is just fantastic.
He looks fucking awesome, yeah, dude. He is sick.
And just so everybody knows, who are you planning on maining day one? I know who it is, but you can let everybody know.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, Cabal, yeah. It was just like just seeing Cabal, it's like I wasn't that excited for the characters shown, so I'm like, okay, this is good. But then the Cabal tease, I was like, what? Like, okay, well, this is good. Like now I can just be happy with the game and see what everything's about. So
you fucking asshole. All right. Yeah, no, that's cool, dude. I'm happy for you. No, just kidding. Cabal's tight. I do like that he made the roster. He's one of those characters that was definitely in that list for me that I hope to see make it.
It's also satisfying to me because Razor, for the past like 4 months, is like, Cabal has no place in this game. He's a revenant, bro. Like, he's a jobber. Like, he has no place. And then, like, he just got fucked immediately. He's like, yeah, man, Cabal's in the game.
I still don't see what the fuck Cabal has to do with any of this.
Let's continue that
Nomad
trend,
dash
shall
cancel,
we?
sir.
Like,
yes.
Cabal is not...
You know who else is a revenant and might have no place in this game?
Smoke.
Striker?
Striker.
Just smoking yet?
Well, look, I understand putting Cabal on the roster because people want their main back. But nobody's actually asking for Striker, so...
I am. I might be the only one.
Yeah, I think so. I don't mind Striker, but...
There's at least
like,
12
I like
of them,
Striker,
sure.
but Striker was low tier in 9, so like
he was good in UMK3 though.
Where's my Striker?
Striker is loved
true.
by many and favored by few. That's it, really.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, what do you guys think about the polls that Ed put out a few months ago?
Oh boy,
And-
are you talking about the
well,
MKX ones?
Yeah, I just want to know.
So those were
I didn't
actually
see
years
any
ago. That was
Was
like,
it?
Those were 4 years ago. So
Oh
that
yeah,
was,
those were. Yeah, that's right.
That was
Okay,
following
then,
MK11 or MKX. It was for DLC. He put out 2 polls, one for male characters, one for female characters, and he asked, of these 4 characters, who did you miss most in MKX? Like, who from MK9 did you miss not being in MKX? The 4 male characters were Rain, Cabal, Jax, and who was the other one? I don't remember.
Oh yeah, I thought it was Noob and
Noob. You're right.
Was Jax on there?
Yeah, Jax was on there. I think.
Fujin
I don't
again.
even remember. Damn it.
I thought it was Smoke. No, I can't remember.
Yeah, if anybody has that's listening, anybody that has that, throw it in the Nethercast question chat. We'd love to be able to go over those. And then, so the 4 males, I just remember thinking when somebody put that up recently, the 4 males I think are all going to be in. I think all 4 of those selections are going to make it. I'm
The reason
worried.
I don't think it was Jax was because I think it was right after KP2, and I don't think Jax would make sense to be on that list. But
Oh, duh. It wouldn't make sense because he was in MKX.
Yeah,
what the hell
exactly.
am I thinking? Okay, so Cabal, Rain, Noob, and who was the other? Shang, maybe?
I can't. It doesn't sound right to me. I can't remember. Yeah.
Hopefully somebody comes up with that. If anybody listening can deliver that for us, that would be fantastic. The females...
It may have been Smoke. I don't know.
Smoke, Noob, Cabal, and Rain. Yeah, that makes sense. I could see that. Whereas the 4...
I'm looking at it right now. It was who'd you miss the most in MKXL? Baraka, Cabal, Noob Saibot.
Okay,
Baraka.
that makes sense.
Yes, okay, Baraka. So yeah, all 4 of them are like obviously super likely. So go over those again. Baraka, Cabal, Noob
Saibot, Rain.
I'd also like to point out that Cabal had the lowest percentage on that list, and he is in. So.
Exactly, which makes me think on the other list, okay, so there's a female one. I don't know if you have that one as well, Shad. There's
trying to find it.
Okay, there's a female one with Shiva, Scarlet, Sindel, and...
Jade, I think.
Jade, you're right. So those are the 4. I don't remember the order, but Scarlet wasn't even first. I think she was second to Jade. So it almost...
Right.
If I had to guess, just based on, like, everybody I've ever heard say things in the fandom about the female characters, it's got to be Jade, Scarlet, Sindel, Shiva.
Yeah, I'm almost positive it's that as well.
Those are the 4. I'm looking at it right now.
Okay.
And the winner was Jade with 37%, Scarlet 27, Sindel 24, Shiva 12. Wow.
And what I'm hoping doesn't happen is, because I'm almost positive all 4 of those males are going to be in, and we had this with Injustice 2, where he put out polls where every character on the poll ended up making it as well. I'm hoping we do not see... I know you are a big Shiva fan down for, or at least you want her gameplay-wise.
Yeah, I want her to be good.
I do not want to see Sindel and Shiva on the base roster, at least. DLC, fine, whatever, but I do
you know what? I'd like Shiva on there.
Stop
it.
You said that in a way like, you know what? Give me some of that Shiva. Sure, whatever.
Sounds like a thing you'd say.
It's weird to not have a Shokan in an MK game. And we just had Goro, and Kintaro's never going to be again.
Oh.
You know, every time you say someone's just never going to come back.
You know what? If that's what it takes, if me saying Kintaro will never come back results in him coming back, I will eat that bullet.
How about a newspaper?
Oh boy, yes. Make that bet. Make that bet.
No.
So
no, you're alone on that one, buddy.
All my point is, right, so if they are DLC, whatever, okay, I can deal with it. Right now, I'm focused purely on the initial roster, and I want the initial roster to be great. You know, the first wave of DLC, that can obviously be a quick Band-Aid if there's anybody that's like a glaring omission. First wave of DLC comes out pretty quickly, starting with like the month after the game anyways. So and we know before the game comes out, like usually a month before, what that first wave of DLC is. So it can go along, like it can do a lot to make the roster seem better than it is on its base form just by having certain characters as DLC, as patchwork, basically. I just really don't want to see Sindel and Shiva take up those last 6 spots. That's all I'm saying here. I
just going on record here, I'm probably the lone Sindel supporter here, and I would not mind having her back
Temp
again.
definitely is all about
Doesn't Shiva qualify as taking a risk, though?
Oh, a huge, gigantic one.
I mean, I'm not even like opposed to Sindel's design. I just, man, there's other characters ahead of that line
that deserve it more.
Yeah, she's in the line. Don't get me wrong. She's just...
like, I'm 50-50 on her. You know, I like her as a character. I never get tired of playing as her. I wouldn't mind. I'd love to see her back, but at the same time, you know, she was in 9, she was in X, but she wasn't. So I understand that people want to see her take a day off.
She was in Deception and Armageddon. So I mean, she had a streak there, other than MK vs DC.
She did.
But yeah, I don't know.
Honestly, seeing how everyone looks in this game, I'd be way more open to seeing characters that I wasn't as open to seeing before, like more of the trilogy characters, because
I think
everyone
Baraka,
looks so fucking good.
I think Baraka was absolutely that one that basically said, "Hey, all bets are off. Even Sonya to a degree.
Yeah, Sonya looks amazing.
None of us really wanted Sonya, and whether she should be on the roster or not is kind of moot at this point. We're getting her, but the fact that
she looks good.
Yeah, she looks good in game.
I don't know. I feel
she's all right. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not complaining about her character design. I just think her gameplay looks bland.
I thought the complete opposite. I thought she looks way more interesting than she does in X.
Grab from her, like all she's doing is shooting rings and.
Well, you see like the auto combo stuff. That shit looks cool to me.
I mean, I'm taking it for granted. You're going to be able to unlock a lot of her classic moves, and she has had a lot of classic moves over the ages to unlock.
I mean, if
the upward bike kick comes back, I'll give Sonya a chance.
I thought they disconfirmed the unlocking move shit. I thought it's all unlocked from the start. I heard it was all unlocked from the start. Paulo said that in an interview.
I was under the impression that we saw all the moves. Unless they like release more as DLC or patches.
Yeah, the way I understand it is that all the moves that are in the game are going to be in one of the 3 separate variations. So there aren't going to be any wasted moves like there were in Injustice. And they'll add on to variations depending on if characters need help and shit.
I was still under the impression that we're going to be able to unlock moves. If not, and that's also
maybe I'm wrong. That's what I heard in the interview. I'm not sure if I'm right. I just thought that was...
I'm fine with unlocking cosmetics. I do not want to have to unlock moves. That's just my...
I definitely read that you have all the moves available at the start.
It just seems really weird to me that Sonya doesn't have the leg grab. And also, like I said, she looks boring to me, but if the bike kick comes back, I'm in.
When the Ice Clone was confirmed out, at least at this current stage, from what they've told us, I think all bets are off. Like, any move can apparently just be taken out by now.
Yeah, but like, I get the design. I don't agree with it, but I get the design philosophy for taking the Ice Clone out. But the leg grab never posed any kind of like gameplay problem.
It sure makes me remember Deadly Alliance when Cyrax didn't have his net, and I just shudder at the thought.
Yeah, like that's what bothers me about it. Like, I don't think any move from MK1 through 3 should be not in. That's.
I don't think Raiden has a shot.
I mean, on a certain level, I am being nostalgia guy, and that's like a thing. But that's most of the MK audience.
Yeah, so roster-wise, just to wrap up the roster stuff, man, I'm hoping, I'm praying to Chronica, I'm crossing my fingers and toes, just please. Here's the thing, I have faith that it's going to be better, at least for me, in my opinion, than MKX. What I wanted from X was certain trilogy characters and 3D era characters were left out that I really, really like, and that I know a lot of fans really like. The Smokes, the Cyraxes, the Noobs, Shang Tsung, Jade. Obviously, these characters can't make every game, and obviously like a Fujin or a Frost, popular characters in that sense as well. I want to see more of those this time. I have more faith that we're going to get more of those, but man, I just hope those last 6 spots, they at least fit in 3 or 4 more favorites on the base roster, and then DLC can, hopefully that first wave of DLC can further that and add a couple more in, or get some 3D era characters in there for representation that we haven't gotten like in a long time. That's the thing, like with a character like Kenshi, like if he doesn't make the base roster, he's pretty much done, right? Because they're not going to repeat DLC.
That's true, yeah.
So I'm fine with him sitting out, because I mean we've gotten a lot of Kenshi obviously for a while now, but
I'm sick of him.
But man, I just. It's weird. It's weird not like the characters like a Rain or a Kenshi that they've been DLC, so they can't technically be DLC again unless they go back on that. Maybe after a couple games, it's no longer a factor.
Ed's philosophy was to not make you pay for the same guy twice in a row.
That's true. It's been in like 8 years since MK9, maybe.
Yeah,
he's more open to a Kenshi or Rain.
Maybe. I mean, if that's the case, I'm not going to complain. It's not like I'm going to be like, oh, I have to buy Kenshi twice. Like, I don't really care. Like, I'm going to pay for a character if they look good. That's all that matters. But yeah, regardless, hoping the roster comes out well, and then we're all happy at the end of the day. You got your main, so fuck off. Anyways.
I mean, if you ask half the MK players alive right now who their main is going to be in 11, the answer is going to be Cabal.
That's true.
It doesn't matter that they've
It's
played
because
them
it's
or
his
not.
job to be broken.
I don't believe. I mean, I
He's
still
not gonna
think.
be broken.
Well, yeah.
What day is the Kombat cast? Tuesday?
It's the
It's
30th.
Wednesday.
I think it's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
Wednesday. Okay, well, on Wednesday, you're gonna see some hop fireballs.
I don't. I think it's out. I think they gutted it.
I don't think they would, because that would be acknowledging that it's broken, and
They
I
did
think
that with
they
the Ice
like it the
Clone.
way it is.
Exactly.
Yeah, Ice Clone has.
I
If Ice
sincerely
Clone's
get the
gone-
impression from the fact that Cabal is broken in every fucking game he's in.
He wasn't broken
that
in Deception.
Cabal being broken is a feature, not a bug.
It's just the fundamental design of the character, and the only way you're going to make him not broken is to take away his dash, and then you've taken away the essence of who Cabal is, and that's not going to happen.
We already know the dash is in. That's the
Well,
only
dash
thing
cancels.
we've
Yeah.
seen.
It was the
Like-
common. Yeah.
I'm
I don't
just
think
saying,
he'll be broken.
nothing's safe to a certain degree. You know, I could see them removing the air fireball, but that's basically it.
Yeah.
No, I think they're gonna not only put in the air fireball,
Oh boy.
but they're going to do more of the air fireball than any other move when they
No.
demonstrate him.
Perhaps
No.
every single one of his normals will throw razor blades as well.
I think
Cabal becomes a wheel skeleton. from
He'll be
Dark-
able to summon a full screen, top to bottom, covers the entire thing, razor blade.
they're gonna balance Cabal and Cyrax if he's in, or I'll delete this server. I'll do it.
Cyrax was pretty balanced in MKX. He's pretty bad.
He wasn't in MKX.
Well, you know what I mean.
no, I don't. You don't. I really don't.
I saw some sort of strange rainbow-colored Lucky Charms robot, but I don't know what you're talking about either.
Okay.
And everyone looks so different in 11. I think.
I know. I can't wait to see the
bunch of
characters that we
different
love. Like that's
Yeah.
sort of my biggest hype factor is what are their designs going to look like? How are they going to design them? Like if Cyrax is in, what does his gear look like? What are the hell? We could get classic MK3 masks back.
That's what I want.
We can get all these like cool ass gear for them or cool moves that we've never seen them do. Just the most polished design they've ever had. Brutalities,
intros, like all
yeah,
that.
the shit that we just didn't get because they weren't in X. So that's more than anything. That's more like that's why I want to see Smoke. That's why I want to see Cyrax. That's why I want to see Frost, Fujin. I just want to see what they do with the character after all of these years from being playable. It's been 84 years. It's just been so long since we've gotten to actually get these characters featured in a game that I want to see what they do with them. We've come a long way since MK9, or hell, in like Fujin's case, Armageddon, if you even count that shit. So, yeah, I just want to see what they do with them. See what they, like, Frost. What are they going to do with her for the first time since really Deadly Alliance or Armageddon? Because they didn't really change her stuff. Sorry, you coughed there. Are you coming down with something? Please don't start that.
This
shit.
is one of those things, man. If you're just saying it, it's going to happen.
Maybe by saying it, Razor's hoping that they will be like, "Oh shit, he called him. Like, we'll take it out now because he said it out loud."
It's important to dream, to have hopes.
Boy. So that wraps up the roster talk, though. Just from a gameplay standpoint, though, this game feels amazing. I cannot wait to play it. We got the beta on March 28th, so I'm super hyped. I'm like, no other game sounds interesting to me right now. I think
Same.
that's
So they to briefly wrap up the roster talk. Actually,
sure.
I wanted to make another kind of prediction. Not so much.
Does it
for
involve a
character-
newspaper?
It does. It does not. No, but this is something that I feel kind of fairly safe and certain in calling up. In an interview Ed had really recently, he was mentioning like familiar faces. Are we going to like see people back? And then he started talking about in terms of the facial recognition software that they have and scan. And what he said specifically was, we have a returning face that's going to blow people's minds and freak them out. Now,
Yes, there is a celebrity face actor for some character on
Yeah.
the main roster.
Everyone's speculating Carrie.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Yeah, Kiri Tagawa as Shang Tsung has been the leading speculation.
Like,
I just don't know who else it could be.
It would make perfect sense for him to have his own reveal, because that alone would in fact, mess people up.
I'm
and
gonna
I
counter
really want
that.
to see it happen.
I'm going to counter that prediction.
All right. What you got?
Lyndon Ashby as Johnny Cage.
Haven't we already seen Johnny's face a bit?
Vaguely seen like blurry Johnny. I don't know if it looked Ashby-esque.
It already doesn't really look like him. No,
it looked more like Johnny to me.
It did.
All right, son. We already saw that one. I'll try this again. Christopher Lambert as Raiden. Bold.
Oh, why do you have to make me sad? Why do you have to say things we'll never have?
This show is just all about us hurting each other, isn't it?
It is.
That is kind of what we do. Just twist the knife.
I guess.
Just gonna keep drinking the wine.
What I would say to that is, like, I would love Cary Tagawa as Shang's voice actor. If you're gonna map his face, please put a goatee over top of it, please.
All right.
Shang Tsung is a beard connected to a man. He's not a man, he's a beard connected to a man, okay? That's how I see him. That's what I think of the character. Shang without a beard is not Shang Tsung.
I mean, I expect at least a goatee.
Robin
But
Shou
we're assuming he's gonna be
as
old,
Liu Kang.
You know, I actually find that he looks a little bit like Eddie Wong in the pictures that we've seen. He looks very MK3.
We've seen some people making fun of the Liu Kang face because every time we get a still of it, it's a funny facial expression where he just looks really confused.
It's him and Kung Lao. It's him and Kung Lao together.
Yeah,
Kung Lao looks so really straight laced, and Liu looks hilarious.
Yeah, like they're both reacting to the same stuff, but Liu is confused and Kung Lao is angry, which is the perfect reaction to this entire timeline both of them are having.
Damashi, I'm going to need you to sit down, Damashi, because I don't know if you're aware of this, but Trevor Goddard passed away a long time ago, so he cannot be back as Kano.
Yeah.
So I don't know what kind of no. This is not a time for this is not a time for jokes. This is not a time for laughs. Damashi, you need to understand something. This is not a laughing matter. I don't know what you're trying to pull here, what kind of shenanigans you're trying to get away from.
I think we've actually kind of blown his mind here. I don't think he knew.
I'm just telling you, his last film, I believe, was Pirates of the Caribbean, and that movie came out a long time ago.
Yeah, Kano's kind of a cursed role. Trevor Goddard has passed away and left us, and so has the guy that played him in Legacy.
It's a curse, really.
Yes.
God bless. What is it?
No, wait.
Rich DeVizio.
If I might suggest a more cheerful topic.
Sure. That doesn't sound like you, but all right.
I really don't want to think about Trevor Goddard being dead right now.
Okay, go on.
But, what if, and just bear with me on this, and I swear this is a completely original thought that I did not steal from Twitter, what about Terry Crews' Jax?
You just stole that from Twitter, didn't you?
No, I didn't. You can't prove that.
I didn't see that at all.
Oh,
wasn't posted everywhere today at all. Like, no.
No, not at all. Not at all, really. But okay, so we have some questions to ask, or not ask. We don't have some questions to ask.
I have so many questions to ask.
We do have some questions in the chat that came up earlier. So from Cisco, Psychosis,
I think it's Psycho 6.
Oh, there you go. That's what I said. So I just dash canceled it. That's all. That's why it sounded weird. So he said, "Yo, what's up with the dash cancels for MK11?"
They're not as good.
Yeah, I mean, dashing.
The dashes themselves are kind of handicapped and crippled and sort of.
Dashing now feels like a vestigial organ. Like it shouldn't be in the game. It does nothing.
Yeah. It's not so much a dash as it is a hobble.
It needs a slight buff.
They're gonna need to fix that.
I think so too.
If they improve the distance on dashing by like and the speed obviously by like 15-20%, I think it would be pretty solid. So something like that. You got to obviously have it be faster than the walk speed, because right now the walk speed I think gets you where you want to go quicker. So that answers that. Aramond asks, "Are you guys doing a show tonight?" No. So next up,
we're not really here.
Lil Papa says, "Let's assume there's only one other new MKX character returning in 11 besides Cassie. Who do you guys think makes it in and why?" I will say Kodal, just because. Come on, I mean that guy. Outside of between him and Aaron, I don't know. I just think you gotta have Kodal. Yeah,
I mean,
Kodal.
if you're
I'll say
representing
Aaron.
Outworld at all, then you have to deal with the guy who's sitting on the throne, right?
So we got 2 for Kodal, we got 1 for Aaron. Shad, where
I
do you
say
fall
Aaron
on this?
because
Go ahead.
I'm absolutely Aaron because I believe that we're going to be dealing with Kodal as an NPC, and I believe that that NPC's head is going to be knocked off by a hammer.
What were you saying, Redman?
well, I think Troy Baker is back. He's voicing Shinnok, so obviously he could be voicing Aaron. And Shang Tsung is in the game, and they have some history, so it makes sense for Aaron to have something to do with Shang in this game. I think. That's I hope.
I mean, Kodal's in my case, Kodal fans I respect and I understand, but I think this is the hour of the con, the Shao Kahn.
I'm still. I mean, I know they've hinted at maybe he'll be in the story mode this time, even though he's a pre-order guy. I'm still iffy on that.
What did he say in the
see it.
interview? I didn't watch the video, but what did he?
Like,
Oh, it was
the question was like, what's up with his appearance? And Baran said that's something that we're going to kind of cover a little bit. That's covered a little bit in story mode, but I don't really want to. I can't really talk about that.
I saw the one with Shaolin Monk's guy. What's his name?
Sean Hemrick.
Himerick. Yeah, I saw Himerick sort of dodge a question about whether or not Shao Kahn would be in story. That kind of implied yes, but again, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, it was dodged for sure. So one other prediction here: Bridget Wilson as Cassie Cage.
I mean, that's kind of the wrong way to go with that. But...
Ronda Rousey as Cassie Cage.
There you go.
Okay, there we go. All right. What? Okay, fine. Rhonda's mother, who's actually well known, she is going to play Sindel, Sonya's mother, in the game.
That's the lore, yeah.
All right, let's move on.
I'm uncomfortable.
Thanks. All right, let's move on here. So, who else will defend Outworld in the new era? Says Power Slam.
Reptile and Ermac.
No.
It wasn't. I'm not debating. It's Reptile and Ermac.
Oh, okay. Well, then you're just giving spoilers. So then we got Jaburk. What do you guys think of Ronda Rousey's performance as Sonya? I'm not really a fan of what I've heard so far, is what he said. I think all of us in attendance liked her more than what we did prior.
I like her as a person, and it's obvious that she is a fan of the series and isn't just doing it for the money or something like that. Sure. But okay, I think what I've heard of her voice, and I have listened to all of her intros and stuff, she does sound like an amateur, but she's not as terrible as I expect. Nowhere near as bad as the voice acting in the 3D era games.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree with that.
I thought she was fine, both as a person and just what I've heard of her vocally so far. None of it really stuck out to me as super odd. Is it a little dry? Maybe, but Sonya to me is dry, so she's a good fit, and I thought she was fine.
She actually kind of reminds me of MK4's Sonya voice a little bit.
Yeah, I could see that.
And that
You're
said,
coming with me, Jarek.
It's over, Jarek.
Maybe in part because of the stiffness, and in part because I think the voice actually does kind of sound like that actress's. But I don't see how she's really particularly better or worse than the Sonyas that have come before. She just seems on par to me. I don't mind her. She's all right.
Yeah, I mean, we only got a few snippets too, but yeah, I mean,
the only time it really stuck out to me as bad was in the mirror match. That was the only time where I'm like, okay, that's pretty bad, but it's fine.
I kind of liked the mirror match one.
All right, moving on. So we've got Car to the Low. God, I nailed that. What are you guys most looking forward to when it comes to MK11 story mode? I am looking forward to seeing what Jade is going to do and finding out who Scarlet is working for. Except for he put that in a question there. For me, most looking forward to MK11 story mode, resolution. Well, twofold actually. Chronica, obviously, I really want her to be a badass character that is just really highly intelligent, always 3 steps ahead, manipulates time, always has a plan, kind of like the Doctor Strange thing in Infinity War. No spoilers, but you just have a sense that she knows what she's doing at all times. I just want her to be really well represented. But beyond just her specific character, I'm looking most forward to resolution in the story. I want to see the characters that we love come back, and I want, at the end of the day, to have a Cabal that is alive again. I want to have a Cyrax that is prominent again. I want a Smoke that is alive again. Basically, I want the characters that were killed off in Massacre and MK9 and have been revenants for however long, 25 years. I want them gone. I want the best characters from each timeline to be there at the end, basically. Give us the best versions of each character and let's move forward. That's what I want.
I concur.
Except basically that.
Yeah, that's good.
Specifically the part at the end. I want all of the revenants to be killed or deleted in some way and replaced with versions of them who did not die.
Right. So that's ultimately it. I mean, the story itself, like the whole journey, I just want it to be fun. But yeah, the resolution is the most important part. What are we left with at the end of the day? What are we looking forward to? Because when I think timelines merging, I think this is an opportunity to take the best of each and let's go. Like, let's move on.
Also,
hopefully
really
that's the case.
To add to that, I would also say mirror matches.
Yeah.
The hypest line that I've seen so far is just like Lou going, "The thought of turning into you makes me sick," or I can't wait to see characters meet themselves.
Like douchebag Johnny interacting with
yeah. Or douchebag. Marvelous.
I could already see.
I really like that.
I'm already going to call it right now. It's going to be awkward and weird, but it's got to happen. Douchebag Johnny is going to meet Cassie before he meets himself, and he's going to hit on Cassie, not knowing that that's his daughter in the next. I'm telling you right now. That is just ripe. It's weird and awkward, but it's ripe for comedy, and you know it.
That is totally a thing that would happen.
That is like some
Dragon Ball Z abridged with Trunks and Bulma.
That is some Three's Company shit where we're all gonna know what's going on, but he doesn't know what's going on. So, yeah, that'll be funny.
I can't say you're wrong, and I really want to, but it's gonna be funny.
And I'm taking you out for dinner. You're my dad. Oh, I will be your dad.
Okay. Everybody back in the time machine.
I mean, he's not really her dad. It's a different timeline, Johnny. It's okay, right? Right?
Yes, that's how that works.
Okay, thank God. Whew. Yeah, I mean, Futurama, right? Fry with his grandma, his great-grandma or whatever. Okay, so moving on. We're all on the same page there with story. We want at the end of the day to feel like we're leaving off better than the cards we've been dealt. Jay Burke, another question here. Since there are 5 characters left that we don't know about, who do you think the remaining 5 will be? We already covered that. It might not be 5 exactly, blah, blah, blah. Never mind, you guys already covered this. Thanks. All right, well, thanks for updating as we've been discussing in the show.
Just that good.
Yes. So, let me look here. Next question. Smokeman asks, is Baraka the best jobber in MK now? He's making a strong argument right now.
I feel like he's about to step out of jobber entirely.
It's possible if he has his own. Yeah, he's got his own stage and everything.
Dude's got shit to do.
His stage looks good too.
Yeah,
I really like it.
The Tarkatan camp is one of my favorite arenas so far. Absolutely.
The sky's kind of purplish and it's kind of got that vibe of like just MK2. I really like it.
Yeah, that's actually something else about story I'm really looking forward to. We're gonna get to spend time in Outworld. Proper, messed up.
Yeah, there is a Tarkatan camp stage, and every stage appears in story mode.
Yeah,
that's true. Damn.
Like, you know that feeling that you got...
So we can go and kick Baraka's ass in his own home turf, is what you're saying?
The feeling that you got the first time you played, like, Deception's Conquest mode and you were, like, running around in Outworld, or at least the feeling that I got. It's like, man, I'm finally here. I'm seeing how screwed up this place looks. It's firsthand. It sucks and it's wonderful. Like, that's what I'm looking forward to feeling in story mode here.
Absolutely.
If that makes any kind of sense.
No, absolutely. I look forward to revisiting like Shang's Island, old locations for sure.
All the stages look amazing so far to me. Way better than X.
Even
I actually wanted to mention the stages and get some thoughts what we think of them.
Yeah, we'll cover that after the questions. Good, thank you for bringing that up because I wanted to cover those as well. So we got a couple more questions here, and then we're done with those. Maybe I see one here. Do you think this is from Kolbs? Do you think they will show off more characters on the Kombat cast besides Cabal? I could see maybe Liu or Katana or Cassie being shown too. Yes, I do not think we're just getting Cabal. We do not have time for just Cabal. We gotta get characters through the. We gotta get them through the pipeline here because we only have like 13 weeks left now. So, and we have only 7 characters officially gameplay revealed. So think about that.
Well, what I wonder about the Kombat cast is it's about like going in depth on the gameplay and the options and showing off all the characters. I wonder if they will show the 7 that were in the demo, or if they'll just assume somebody on YouTube has already covered all that. Like they're gonna let Ketchup and Mustard be the guys.
I hope for the latter.
I think because there's so much footage of them out there, I don't think they will cover them.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what my prediction right now.
I'm hoping...
because, like you said, with how many weeks left, there's like 12 characters, or how many characters on the roster haven't been covered?
So we have 7. We have 7 officially on the select screen. So we have 7 officially gameplay revealed. I'm not counting any of the little story tidbits. So we have 7 officially confirmed in gameplay. We've seen their gameplay. So Cabal is going to make 8. So that means from this point, though, we have 13 weeks till the game's released. By the way, so I mean, ideally, you want to reveal everybody or however many people before that point even. So let's say we have 12 weeks remaining to actually reveal people on Kombat Cast. 12 weeks and only 7 characters. So math is hard. So 18 or 19, depending on if we get 26 or 25. So, and then you minus, 18 or 19. So 18 or 19 characters to cover in 12 weeks. Yeah, and Shao Kahn. So you gotta show more than one. You gotta show 2 at a time, in my opinion. And how I do it, and I've said this in the chat, is I hope we get Cabal revealed basically every Kombat Cast. I'm assuming they're gonna do it every other week. Maybe they'll switch to weekly closer to the release, or even just after this first one, maybe they switch to weekly. That'd be cool. But I'm hoping if they stick every other week, I'm hoping we always get one announced for it. So we always know one that we're getting going into it. And then I hope we always get one as a surprise. So you always have a reason to tune in because you know what you're getting, but you also know that there's going to be one that you're not sure. So that's what I hope for. And we get 2 each one. That way, that's plenty of time to reveal them all if they do it bi-weekly. Well, that's not even true. So 2 bi-weekly. So that's 6 Kombat Casts after this upcoming one-ish, something like that. So
if they revealed 2 per...
Yeah, that would only be 12 characters. Yeah, even that's shooting a little low. So I don't know. They
could have trailers like the Cage Family trailer where they just combine.
True. So maybe they don't, and maybe they don't break down everyone on a Kombat Cast. I don't remember if Injustice 2 they broke down every single character. I feel like maybe there was 1 or 2 that slipped through there. And MK9 even they slipped a couple characters at the end that they didn't even cover, like Smoke. I can't remember if MKX they did that as well, but regardless, and I wouldn't be surprised if maybe there's one they don't even cover, but they have them on the beta instead. Like you go into the beta not knowing what that character plays.
That would be sick.
So something like that makes sense to me. So there's ways they can go about this that they'll get everybody revealed, or maybe they save a couple secrets for release. Who knows? It'll probably be leaked regardless. But yeah, I as far as to re-answer that question, Cabal, I do not think he's the only one. I think you got to at least have one more, even if it's like an obvious one that we've already seen.
Tyler also said it'd be a big Kombat Cast, so I'm expecting at least 1 or 2 more.
Hopefully. Anybody know a time on that yet? Have they released a time?
It's at 3:00 Central.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Because I was gonna try and get like stuff done that day. Have a reason to go home early to watch that. Okay, so I think that's the last question that's in the chat. Damashi said, "But what about Kamidogu?" But
I tell you'll get them when I find them.
Nah.
yeah, well there you go.
The Kamidogu, they know here.
It takes time to collect those things. So that's all the
At least
questions.
50
So
years.
yes. So stages. So Razor brought up stages, and yeah. So,
Holy shit, do they look great?
yes. So let's go over the ones that we saw. So we have the 3 in the beta. Might as well cover those first. So Shang Tsung's Island, which is the former courtyard, looks amazing. Obviously, we saw this in the trailer. This is currently my favorite stage. That in the beta, at least, it looked amazing, and it just has such atmosphere to it. I love it. Yes, it's fantastic.
The music is good too. I think that might be like one of my favorites so far.
Agreed.
It looks really good.
Quite sublime.
Yeah, so that stage is just fantastic. That's currently my favorite. Then we have the Special Forces Desert stage, which I'm usually not big into desert stages. You know, it's just not my color palette of choice. I like blues and that kind of, I don't know, more of a cool color type of guy. So when you get into the orange, I guess, and yellows, it's not as appealing to me. But I gotta say, playing the game at the event, that stage really sold me. Like, it looks beautiful. Honestly, it really does. It looks really good, and the colors aren't that bad on it either. Like, it really pops still.
Yeah.
It's a feast for the eyes. There's enough going on in the background. I really like the stage interactions, like scraping someone's face up and down a cactus.
Yeah, the
Yes, so
cactus
tight.
is what does it for me.
Oh, I
Like
love that.
otherwise, I think the stage is kind of boring still, but I do like the cactus.
I
Cactus
just like
is
that
great.
sunny. It just looks nice to me.
Yeah,
I was so like, I didn't think it looked good in the screenshots before the game was shown, but now I'm fine with it.
agreed, wholeheartedly. And the guy at the event in Jandy that I gave a shout out to at the beginning of the podcast, he pointed out, well, he didn't point out, but he just told me that the stages, they really tried hard, because when I was talking about how great the colors in the game looked and just the presentation, I talked about how X was a little bit more washed out and all of that, and he agreed. He said when we were talking about the life bars and just how beautiful this game looks color-wise and presentation, he did mention that they made sure to make they try to make every stage have a different atmosphere and lighting to it, and you can definitely tell with what we've seen thus far that that's the case. There's nothing that feels just outright samey or boring or washed out. They all really pop and have their own, like you mentioned, the lighting and bright and the sunniness on the desert stage really comes through. So agreed on that. Moving on to the Black Dragon Fight Club. Fuck
Best
Fujin.
music. Best music.
It does have
Yeah.
Fuck Fujin.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm calling this Fujin Boxgate. So there's a user on Test Your Might that is translating a lot of the Russian text that's all over the stage. It's on boxes and stuff.
Yeah, apparently Kano's Fight Club, he's hiding out in Russia, which is a good place to hide from an American military.
So allegedly, on a box on the ground, written in like pencil, so thin you can barely see it, and you apparently have to hold it up to a mirror or reverse the image to read part of it. The rough translation, it says something about Fujin, and we had Chromatos verify the fact for us. It does say Fujin. And the poster alleges that the whole thing says "fuck Fujin" or "Fujin is a man whore," translated. Now, if that's actually like the NRS opinion on Fujin, I ain't eating no fucking newspaper. Just putting that out there. So we'll see how that pans out.
You rolled those dice.
That's before I thought there was actually a chance. If I find out, like this, that they absolutely hate the character enough to slander a fan-requested character in a stage, in official art, nah. All bets are off.
That's alleged. We don't know that it actually says that.
Yeah,
Like,
it seems
that seems like
shady to me.
panic.
The
It seems
translation, I don't know that it's terribly accurate.
I want to give them a lot of credit. I mean, a little bit of, just a tiny bit of credit. And I don't think that they'd be that unprofessional. At least I hope they would not be. Especially after saying that MK11 is a game where the fans decide the roster based on requests, and because who the hell have we been yelling for more than Fujin? Very few people, you know? So if it actually did say that, I'd be extremely disappointed at the unprofessionalism. But I don't think that's actually the case. I hope there's not. I hope it's not.
Yeah, me too. As for the stage itself, I think it looks great. The soundtrack on it is decent. I like the purple like lighting in the background because once again,
It looks
Best
really good.
music.
yeah, it
Music
makes.
is outstanding.
I like the fence in the background. Like just the whole atmosphere
Yeah, it
feels
feels like-
different than anything we've ever gotten in Mortal Kombat. It's just really like it's
Yeah,
it's
It
grungy.
really does
It's
look like an underground, like a dingy
club,
bar
yeah.
that
Fight
has
club.
like cage matches.
exactly.
Because you're like literally like locked into a cage.
There's
Yeah.
the far left wall has like a dirty mattress up against it. And
Dude.
apparently, if you stand just next to that mattress, you take chip damage.
What? Are you serious?
Oh
that is so
my
sick.
God.
It's gross. Yeah, it's got a chainsaw on the ground. It's
I'll take
Yeah.
the cactus.
I like that you can even see like chairs on the ground and shit. They like pop up when you
Yeah.
move over them. Like it's super sick.
It's
And
a very-
Kano in the back.
And I
like,
love
yeah.
if you watch Kano back there. Apparently, sometimes he picks up a bottle of vodka and just starts chugging.
that's so tight. Oh man.
No, it's a badass stage, and once again, just completely different atmosphere from the other two. They all are unique, so kudos to them for, like I said, those were 3 great stages to pick to really show off the different aspects of this game. And yeah, I don't dislike any of them so far. They've all made me a winner, but that's not it. Obviously, those are the 3 that we've gotten.
There's the ones that we've caught glimpses of.
Sure. So if
And,
somebody
uh,
wants to
what
list
we've
those
caught
off,
glimpses of.
Yeah,
What we have
so first
seen.
of there is some kind of boat deck we are presuming to be Shang Tsung's nether ship.
If it's not the Nether ship, I'm gonna brick shits.
It could theoretically be one of those Tarkatan pirate ships like you see in the Cove or the Wasteland in 9.
I mean, you know, we're already taking Liu Kang and Kung Lao from an early period in MK's history. There was no finer place to grab them straight from.
I am hoping it is the nether ship, yes.
There is something about. I guess that's really tied into the imagery that we get from the comic and the first Mortal Kombat movie, where the ship played such a major part in visuals and stage setting that it's always felt like it's more a part of outside MK media than it's ever been in the games.
Yeah.
Like we didn't actually even see it until Deadly Alliance. And to
Yeah,
think
it's
that
always
it
that has
could now
always
be
been
showing
like a
up.
disappointing point to me, and especially like the fact that it wasn't in 9 either. Like to me, a big part of MK1's story is the stuff that happens on the deck of that boat.
right?
Like that's
think
where the
we actually-
characters should meet for the first time, not in the fucking courtyard once they're already on the island.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's. I'm glad that stage is in. If that is indeed that stage, that was one of the ones that I listed that I really wanted was a one that's moving on the water like that.
It looks like it's actually moving too. Like you can see water in the back. Like,
Yeah.
the way
Yeah,
it is.
it's
Is
in
it on?
motion.
Is it on fire?
I
It
think
looks
that's
very
I don't
red.
think it's
I think
just
it's the sky.
sunset.
Okay,
It's
I couldn't
very
tell.
like
is,
red sunset. Yeah.
I will say it does give me
Crossing the
some corrupted stage vibes, like with how red it is. But I'm sure it'll look better in game when you see the full
Yeah,
They could be
stage and everything.
they could be crossing the portal from crossing the boundary between the normal Earth realm and like Shang's Island, which allegedly doesn't show up on maps and
Yeah,
get
the
messed up
lost
compass
Some type
readings.
of,
from
different-
Outworld.
Some type of different lighting would be cool to have as options, like the boat at night or
yeah, exactly.
whenever
That's
it's
what I
sunset.
was. If I had one nitpick about it so far, and we saw such a glimpse of it. Obviously, I'm only going off of what I saw.
Yeah,
It was that when I'm thinking the Nether ship, I am thinking of the Mortal Kombat 1 movie, and when I'm thinking of that, I want a moonlight, glistening off the water.
You remember
and,
like when Shang yells, "It has begun,"
Right.
and it's like the CGI clouds turn into like Shao
Yes.
Kahn eating a snake or something.
I want clouds. I want the moonlight. I want all of that. I want the water, like just waves crashing and stuff.
honestly, a good depiction of it is kind of like the journey begins when it's like at night and it just
Yeah.
looks all eerie and shit. Like, yeah.
With fog rolling on the water and stuff. Like, to me, that would be ideal, but like just having it in the game, and even if it is at sunset, still that's badass. So I'm glad to see it.
If the lighting is majority red and it's foreboding and it's ominous, I can deal with that. I
Same.
agree with you too, but like based on the one glimpse I've seen of it, it's my most highly anticipated stage.
Interesting.
That's my only complaint about is the lighting so far. But we haven't even seen the full stage.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that could change.
Right.
So the next
there's-
one, we'll tackle the
there's,
Turcotten. There's
There's the Tarkatan camp that
yeah.
we mentioned already.
And that
It's
one
got,
looks
like,
badass.
bodies on pikes and tents set up.
There's
and
just a
like,
bonfire with a bunch of wood and bodies and
Yeah.
crap on it. So
There's,
yeah,
I wouldn't necessarily describe the sky as purple, but
It's-
there is
it's
kind of an
kinda-
orange and pink,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
another
It
sunset type
reminded me-
situation.
It's
What
like
it
dusk.
reminded me of a Cons Coliseum in MK2 when it's kind of pinkish and then kind
Yeah.
of orangish clouds. Like, that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
It feels like a place in Outworld, though. Like, Kotal's
I
stage
feel-
in MKX did not feel like a place in Outworld. This,
Like,
yeah.
I feel like we've actually finally taken a bit of a trip into the wastelands and seen
Yeah.
Baraka and his crew are actually hanging out.
Chad, you had the idea of like classic music, like the Wastelands theme being on the stage. Like, if you could select that, like this would kind
Like
of.
I wasn't
that vibe.
hoping for that, but I was thinking that if you could actually select classic music, like select classic music tracks, that yes, this stage would probably be a great candidate to actually have the old Wastelands theme music played in.
I think that'd be so sick. Like,
Yeah.
that would be so awesome.
There's also, speaking of Outworld, I think we did already mention there is some form of Colosseum in the game. We
Yeah.
only got like a brief look at it in the gameplay trailer, the initial reveal. It looks like it might be a remodeled version of Shao Kahn's Colosseum that's designed for like Kotal. Like the throne is not in the middle of the arena itself like it usually is. It's like in an alcove in the wall. And beneath
It
the
looks-
chair, there's like a green, like a teal almost banner hanging below it, which is like kind of Kotal's color and design.
right.
It reminds me more of the Armageddon Coliseum than the MK9 one.
Yeah, I got that feel too, because there's
Absolutely.
a lot of extra stuff. Like there's this like circular area that looks like a wooden elevator for bringing up slaves or lions or whoever's supposed to fight.
And there's a
gladiators.
giant lever right next to it, which is to assumedly open the doors or
Yeah.
bring it up or what have you.
I wonder
Yeah,
if
and there's
that'll come up
like
during the
clay
map.
pots and shields and spears laying around in the sand. It all looks a lot more
Interesting.
used.
I
Yeah.
think it looks good too. I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, I like it.
And then
Yeah.
And
next up,
like story-wise, it's one of the ones I'm most interested in seeing the context for
Right.
because again, we haven't really seen Kotal or any of Outworld teased in the story stuff yet.
yeah.
Agreed.
Next up, we had the special forces. Like it's like a hangar, like an airport hangar,
Yeah,
or
there
something
was,
like
it
that.
looks-
second
yeah.
special forces stage. It looked more indoorsy.
That's my least favorite right now. Like, it's not bad, but it's just like a special forces.
Agreed.
indoors.
That's
Like,
so far
I
is the
haven't-
only one that's just kind of not won me over, I guess, so far yet.
I guess show me some interactables, show me a little bit more of it. We haven't seen very much of it to be
even
very
Johnny's
fair,
in
but
the background.
Yeah,
but-
which is strange
Yeah.
to me that what are they going to do with these characters that are obviously you could just not have them in the background, but if they're an interactable or something, are they going to replace them? Like, is Kano going to be replaced by Su Hao in the or whatever? I don't know.
yeah.
I'm
Don't
sure
start the
it'll
fire,
work similar to like
Start
they've
the fire.
had characters who were playable in Injustice stages and then they just disappear or they change costume because it's suddenly an alternate universe version of them now if you're playing as them.
Yeah.
Kano's son.
Yeah. Oh my god.
stop that!
Stop it.
Saying these things,
But
these
yeah.
heresies.
So
Burn the witch.
and that one's just kind of like a dark green, but yeah, so far that one in grays. So far that one's the least interesting, probably because it makes us think the most of MKX's special forces. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
but and then the next one has like it's like the Shaolin monk one that has like the
Yeah,
giant wind turbine on it. and
That one
everything.
was so sick.
It looks like it might
Lovely.
be inside the Sky Temple.
I think so too.
Oh boy, Fujin better not
But,
be on that
Like
background.
we've mostly seen that one. We've mostly seen that one in like story mode footage of young Liu Kang and Kung Lao like running around and like Scorpion attacks them there.
Right.
So,
So
were
There's
it's
those,
also
like,
There's also like spikes there. There's a few skulls going on.
Yeah, there's like this. There's
maybe
these spots on the floor where it's like an Indiana Jones trap has been sprung.
Yeah.
Maybe Raiden's been redecorating.
What are those big fucking like spike boulder things that are everywhere in there?
I think there's some kind of pillar that's been like tipped over.
Yeah,
because the place has been attacked. There is a dead Shaolin monk leaning up against like the staircase.
I thought I saw a few dead Shaolin monks like just sprawled out.
Yeah, there's a couple of them. What if
also,
the
there's
Shaolin...
a big... Sorry, go on.
What if the Shaolin actually rebelled against Raiden? Would that be insane?
I think it's more likely that like Kronika's attacking this temple or something like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say
the monks do live there. We did see the Sky Temple stage had like monks praying around a statue, and you could throw one of them at the enemy in X.
Do you think there's like a giant revolving hammer on the right of the stage? Do you think that might have something to do with like Garrus, since he uses some type of hammers?
Maybe
that's
might be like the pendulum to a giant clock or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's true.
Stage
looks
technology,
sick, though.
perhaps.
Oh, that'd be tight.
Oh, it's like the old wind, like the old fan from MK4.
Yes, fuck yes.
That'd be
That's
so
my favorite
awesome.
stage fatal.
That was
Dude,
a
that
good
would be
one.
so tight.
That was a good one. And then I think the last one was the last stage.
Well, no.
was...
So there's a couple more things. So there's one that we saw like a single shot of that I can't really make sense of. It almost looks like the fucking hamster wheels from Annihilation.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't think I saw that.
Canonize that shit.
It was in the behind the scenes video. It's like a very brief glimpse. It looks like a
I can't even really explain it. It's some kind of underground area with some kind of like cracked open scaffolding structure that reminds me of those fucking hamster wheels.
Hamster
It looks
wheels
weird.
confirmed.
Put that thing in the chat. I want to like take another look at it. I don't know if I've seen this one yet.
And
Very
then
strange to me.
And then there were two that we've only seen in cutscene form that may or may not be playable. One of them is, it looks like it's Kronika's home base. It's some kind of pure white spaceship-y type place.
Yeah, very science fiction-y.
Yeah, and the other one is, it looks like it's part of the Jinsei Chamber or like the deep underground of the Sky Temple. It's like this grotto with this glowing blue river, and
Yeah,
There's
there's
like a serpent statue.
these giant dragon statues,
Yeah.
and there's all this like gifts or offerings of some kind on the ground. Like
Interesting.
maybe it's a memorial that people were paying tribute to dead fighters, or maybe it's like worshippers leave these things for Raiden as like tribute. It's hard to tell exactly, but we see young Liu Kang and Kung Lao fighting Kronika and Garrus there.
Well, I was thinking of the one that we didn't mention is the...
Did you not bring up like the Netherrealm throne room?
Yeah, that's-
Oh right,
That's
yeah,
the
we
one I
missed
was
that one,
thinking
yeah.
of,
There's a churchy looking stage that's clearly in the Netherrealm, and it's got Shinnok's head like stuck in some kind of weird mounting on the wall.
Yeah, that
There's
one's
absolutely
definitely...
there's
And there's,
bones
like-
hanging from the ceiling.
There's a
and
bunch of
there's
candles
bone
everywhere.
Sculptures.
It looks awesome. It reminds me of like the church or the cathedral. Like it just
Yeah,
really...
it's sort of a combination of the MK3 church and like Revenant Lu and Kitana's throne room from the end of X.
As
like,
well as the
looking at-
MK9 cathedral or whatever church. That one had a lot more like mood lighting and
like-
candles and stuff.
I like how orange it is. It looks very like bright and
Yeah.
even though it's dark, it's like that type of vibrance that we wanted.
It's
for
got
that.
great contrast. Yeah, it's got its
Yeah,
darks,
exactly.
but also it's the candles
I-
light it up. Yeah.
I kind of feel like if I'm gonna fight a secret character, that's the background where it's gonna happen. You get that feeling?
Yeah, I could see something like that.
Maybe,
like
yeah.
maybe one of the revenants crawl out of there or something. That would be kind of neat.
It kind of gave me the Shao Kahn's tomb crypt vibes, like when you go down there and you see a bunch of skulls and shit. That's what it reminded me
Yeah.
of at first. but
The layout and the color scheme, it's all
on
very
the left
very
side of the
actually.
stage, yeah, very much.
You can see there are, if you look at certain parts of the background, there's like windows or an open sky, and it's that same kind of greenish
Okay.
gray sky that Quan Chi's fortress in X had. So it's definitely a Netherrealm stage.
Well, I mean, the bones everywhere are kind of a dead giveaway. But you're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, and Shinnok.
Also,
yeah.
Shinnok's head.
Yes.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, that covers the stages. They look fantastic. We have 17 of them, at least in this game. It seems like there's enough spots for 17, so that's more than MKX. So
That
far,
seemed low to me at first, but I'm like seeing the
Well-
stages now. This is I'm way more good with the stage number now.
The
that I've
ones we
seen the
just
stages.
went over is only like 10 or 11, so
Yeah.
that's still like several that we haven't seen yet.
And I'm still hoping for at least 2 or 3 more of classic stages redone, like the courtyard, like modernized.
I would love to see like a stage or two from MK2 and 3.
Yes.
Like especially like if we're going back and revisiting things, I would love them to take another shot at the rooftop and actually put the castle in the portal back there.
And I also wouldn't be surprised if we get a pit, some version of the pit. Hopefully not the same one, but hopefully we get some.
I also wanted to raise the point that both MK9 and MKX had some stages where there were 2 versions of them, like a night and a day, or like a past and a future.
Yeah,
and we haven't seen any of that yet. So I
would
think,
really like to see that for the courtyard.
Yes.
Yeah, it would be super sick if there was like regular courtyard and courtyard ruins,
or even just the night and day stuff, like or raining or not rain. Like, give me more variations like that. Even like the Nether ship. If we want a sunset and a dusk morning where it's like a light blue, or a nighttime like we talked about before. Like, I mean, there's so many possibilities with that. They don't have to redo the stage from scratch, so you got to change the lighting and some of the effects in the skybox. But other than that, I mean, it's not like you're creating a stage from scratch. So hopefully, I mean, like you said, with MK9 and X, we did get some of those. So I look forward to those. 'Cause, I mean, MK9, man, Shang Tsung's Garden, I love that with the night version with the candles and the moonlight and the pit in the background was awesome.
Obligatory combat to mention.
Warrior Shrine. I mean, there's several cool
Which the Warrior Shrine was in one of the pictures on the
one of the
the Warrior Shrine in the menu pictures
is a picture of the Warrior Shrine, so that was cool.
Interesting. So yeah, I mean, hopefully we get, like I said, another couple classic stages at least, because I think those are always fascinating. You always got to bring some classics back. It's just like the characters. The stages are nice to have.
You know,
I want. Sorry, go on.
I'm realizing now that like I wouldn't mind if the pit took a bit of a break.
Yes.
Like it's been 2 games in a row we've had a pit.
Sure.
The pit. The same pit.
Same pit.
2 games in a row we've had the same pit though.
Yeah.
Let's get a Chronica pit. Like where you keep falling because she like rewinds your
That would be tight.
I don't know. That'd be interesting.
You guys did have the idea of a pit in space like so long ago, which I'm like, well, like that hourglass thing kind of looked like a space background, so maybe.
Isn't a space pit just the Nexus?
Kinda, yeah.
You just go off into the vacuum forever.
I was gonna say the stage I want more than anything now is just like a portal stage. Like, just give me a bright fucking orange portal, some shadow priest like that. Even if it's fucked up, like that would be cool too.
Right, with a bunch of ladders back there.
Ladders?
I think we all missed the point.
I'm talking about it's like Deception or something.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
No, like I mean. That was the MK3 secret portal, the smoke area.
Yeah.
There were like a bunch of light arcade ladders in the back.
I thought of literal ladders, like a fucking ladder in the back of my
head. Okay.
Like where Johnny fights Scorpion in the movie?
Exactly.
Lin Kuei Temple, man, like a snow stage theme would look so good in these. Like,
I feel like there's
got
to be a snow stage.
Yeah.
There's always a snow stage.
Yeah. So something like that would be badass. Yeah, man, I'm hoping for a couple classics, but so far they've all looked amazing, so I can't complain either way. Even if we don't, they look really, really good.
What I'm hoping for is they continue, like, I've always asked them to do the Street Fighter V thing where they keep releasing stages and, like, extra content just to keep you interested. Like, it doesn't have to be a character. Just a stage once in a while would be so cool.
I felt so sure that we were going to get at least, like, 5 or 6 more stages out of the MKX lifespan. And we just never did. It was like the pit, and that was it pretty much.
Yeah, that was it.
That was just them making do with a classic stage because they forgot to put one in the actual game.
Yeah.
But yeah. One last topic I wanted to cover before we wrap this up is So Jonas asks, in terms of gameplay mechanics, what about the meter system? Any thoughts? So we have the meter system, and then we also have the enhanced version or whatever, amplify. So, well, I guess we also have the question of which classic stages do we want to return in MK11. We kind of listed some of them off. I mean,
well, like I just want to bring up something that Snake Eyes just mentioned in the chat, and he's getting a lot of support for that. So I figured this is definitely worth mentioning because he suggested like the Lin Kuei Automation Lab,
Yeah, I was actually
I think that
thinking that's funny.
We have always, for years and years, wanted to see what it would look like to see people being presumably taken apart or put back together. And yeah, I would not complain at all if we would actually get to see like Sector's Tekken in Lab or whatever it is at this point in time. Or so assuming we do revisit the MK2 and 3 segment of time, yes, I would be all for that.
We just see Frost in the background, not as a cyborg. Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Wishful thinking. Wishful thinking.
But I was actually, it's funny that he brought that up because I was literally thinking that in my mind before we changed subjects, that an automation lab would be kind of cool. I was thinking of like them being torn apart and turned into cyborgs. Something like that would be pretty interesting to see.
That'd be tight.
Or you see them enter one side and then you see like through a window them just getting torn apart and then they come out the other side as a cyborg. There's some cool stuff you could do with that. Okay, so meter system. Blah, 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 blah. Amplify. So the reason why I want to talk Amplify, because Down 4, you were one of the defenders of Amplify, so I figured I'd give you at least a platform to state your opinion on Amplify. So what Amplify is, for anybody that doesn't know, basically no longer can you meter burn things, you can amplify a move, and it's the same concept. Instead of holding block while you're doing the move, however, you have to input a different combination. So for Baraka, I think it was down back 3 to do his choppy chop, and then to continue it, to amplify it, you have to press down forward 3 to keep it going, and then down forward 3 again to amplify it a second time, actually. So basically, from my understanding, every single special move has a different combination. So some you gotta hold the button longer, some you gotta wait for a certain time, like hit confirm it, some you gotta press down in a button, some you gotta do multiple directions in a button to amplify. And every special move for every single character is gonna have a different way to amplify it. So it essentially turns it from one block button to do these things to, if you want to learn your character, and you want to learn the amplify buttons, you're going to have to basically double that special move in your brain space. You got to be able to remember a whole complete different input and some maybe even timing. I don't think they were too crazy on timing. So I think they were pretty lax, but so from your perspective, because obviously this is something that a lot of people are not happy of, not happy with. They want simpler, they want easier, they don't want to have to remember that. My complaint has been from like a learning multiple characters standpoint. It's going to be hard to take a character that has, say, 8 special moves, obviously broken down into variations, and then learn all of the special moves, then which usually aren't hard to remember, obviously, but then you got to learn the amplify directions and buttons. On top of that, it might get a little confusing. So from your perspective, what do you think about the system? How do you improve it if you keep it that way? I know you shared some thoughts, so what do you got?
Well, I like it so far because I think it will reduce counterpicking a bit, just because, like, in Injustice 2, people would counterpick with, like, Deadshot early on because he was so easy to learn. You didn't have to learn shit. So, like, you could literally pick up Deadshot in, like, 2 hours and fucking use him in tournament. Like, the ECT top 8 was full of people, was full of Deadshot, and no one even fucking main Deadshot in that tournament. So, I think it will decrease that in that aspect. But the compromise I would make is I would make it the same button for whatever special move you use. So, if you do, like, Sub's Ice Ball, you amplify it with 2 instead of some random shit like Throw.
Right.
But I just don't think people are giving it a chance. I would like people to feel it first before they start pulling out the pitchforks. Like, on TYM, literally, people made a fucking petition on change.org to fucking change it. So I'm like, dude, like,
there's always a petition.
Give it a chance. Yeah, it's like, that isn't going to do shit. Like Boone already said, it's a work in progress. So I also don't think, with the way special moves work now, so, like, I don't think using just the block button would work, because I think you would get a lot of accidental amplifies, because say you throw out an ice ball and you go to block, just to block, not amplify it.
Right.
You would get an amplify. So, like, obviously that wouldn't happen if you're careful, but it's like, that's just another layer of, like, oh, I can't press block after the special. Or, like, I get a special on block that I didn't want to amplify, but I blocked in case it was blocked. Yeah, so there's a solution to that, too, is just make, like, stance switch the universal button, but I just want to give it a chance first, really.
So
I think if Sorry, go on.
No, I was just gonna say give it a chance. So let's just say we ride with it into the beta, right? So
Yeah.
we go to the beta. Beta lasts a week. Do you think after the beta, if people are having the same complaints still, do you think then just like, do you think basically right now, do you think they should be implementing some sort of fallback option, like a simpler go back to block or stand switch or whatever as your universal for everybody? So that way, say beta rolls around, it's majority, like overwhelming majority, people are just not liking this for whatever reason, and that way they have a go-to to easily switch in that last month, or a day one patch to make sure it gets changed. Do you think that's a good idea? What would you prefer?
Yeah. Well, what I was gonna suggest too was just put both options in the beta. Just like have an option for the regular meter burn, see how that feels. And then have the option for the meter burn system that they had at the demo.
Like an option that you, the player, can switch, or the option,
like reverse. Like, you know how you can turn off like negative edge and all that. Like just have that as an option.
I mean, they even have like
alternate
your input windows as an option now, like short, long, medium.
Yeah, I love that because that was such an issue for Injustice. So I'm so happy that's actually. And you can turn off like a crushing blow, like when you want to use a crushing blow.
Right.
So it's like they're going all out with these options. Why not have the option for?
My only issue with that is if you do something like that where you have a very simplified version and then you have a very complex version, who would use the complex version over the simplified version? If you give them the option, I don't see any player that's going to be like, I'm going to make this more challenging for myself over everybody else. So that's honestly, my only complaint. Is then if your idea is let's write it out at least at first to let people try it, I don't think you include that simpler option because then you're going to get somebody that's like, ooh, I don't like this, and they instantly switch. You're not going to give them a chance to try and grind it out to see if they can actually manage it. My thought is, I like your idea of sticking with the same button. That way you don't have down back X and then to, amplify it, you have down forward Y or whatever. Like then it's just, then you're getting way more confusing. So I do like that. And you can also stick to one direction. So let's say it's down forward X and then just hold back and then X or whatever. I mean, you can mess with that to make it easier. But ultimately, I think they should create a backup option so that way going into the beta, if things hit the fan and really like the overwhelming popularity that play this game, because obviously it was a very small sample size that played it at the events. When you get it in the hands of most people, get an idea. You can even have an exit poll of like people in the game can take a poll of how they felt about this new mechanic. And if it gets overwhelmingly negative reviews, then before the game comes out or day one patch, you just switch to the simpler. No harm, no foul.
I agree. It sounds like they've got something in mind because Boone did say that this is a work in progress. Like they're just testing this, see how it feels.
I worry about the amount of time they have to change things. Because we're so close, especially the beta is going to be like 1 month from release.
Right. Not even a month. It's like less than a month.
It's less than a month. It's about 3 weeks-ish.
Yes, it's like 25 days. So
3 or 4 weeks.
That seems like the danger zone to me. Like, shouldn't the game already be gold within like?
There's a little bit of leeway time there.
Also, day one patches.
Yeah, I mean, there's day one patches, so even if it does...
But, I mean, this seems like a very complicated thing to patch.
It does.
I don't... I mean, it may not be... I don't think it would be that...
I'd call it roughly a week's work if they knew exactly what they had to change and what to change it to. And it was like another week of like testing time to make sure nothing's fucked up or broken because of it.
You got a regression test. That's why...
That's with major crunch.
That's why you back it up before the beta. That's why you have a backup plan ready to go. It's just a matter of a flip a switch. If they really think this is going to be an issue, which a lot of people are complaining about, you come up with a backup plan that you can easily flip a switch and you're prepared for it. It's not a mad dash at the last, final 3 weeks to then implement this new thing. It should already be implemented just in case, so that way they're not dealing with a lot of backlash upon release. If that is even a thing. I mean, yes. I agree with you.
I don't know. The other thing for me about like judging it before you've tried it is that this is actually a mechanic from a previous game.
The pro moves from versus DC,
yeah, that's what I said.
They were a bit different. Well,
the timing on pro moves was a lot more difficult than the timing on this.
I remember like Green Lantern had his hammer. It was like down, back two, down, back two, down, back two, but super, super tight link. At least it was probably like link or some shit. Like
that was the worst part about pro moves. It wasn't even doing an alternate input. It was the timing on everything. The windows on those were so short. Like you really had to like time that shit out. It was a pain in the ass.
Still don't know how
I guess
platinum that game with all that bullshit.
Yeah.
I think what bothers me about it is that like it encourages sticking to a main and like really practicing like one character. But I don't know. I feel like Mortal Kombat games should be designed with casuals in mind first and everyone else second.
That's something I didn't give enough credit to. Yeah, I didn't think about like someone picking this up to play it for like a weekend or some shit.
Yeah, like
they're probably gonna have a lot.
Most people like to jump around a roster. Like I have like 8 to 12 mains in Smash Brothers. Like it gets boring playing the same person all the time.
That's how I am with MK. It's like that's why I like playing everyone.
I actually kind of figured that like Killer Instinct had a lockdown of this expanded or EX thing a long time ago. Pretty much, what they did for a lot of like their shadow moves and stuff was like you'd hold the button down and you'd make the same motion and then you'd release, and then your shit would just come out different and enhanced. That seems a lot simpler to me. And even MK Trilogy, I think, had a couple of like expanded red shadow moves, like Liu Kang had a red bite kick, and rather than like or Johnny, actually that was Johnny. Johnny had the normal shadow kick as back forward low kick, and I think you had to add another extra back command.
Yeah, I think it was back forward high kick.
It was back forward low or something like that. I don't know. It was similar enough. It was close.
Yeah.
So I think that's optimal ground for me. I mean, I'm not opposed to this. Like we said, it's not new, but they could streamline it just a little bit.
I agree.
I agree with the streamlining. I'm not opposed to trying it. I'm with you, Down 4, in the sense that, I mean, I'm going to roll with whatever regardless. It's not like I'm going to not play the game over this. Like, that's
I
just feel not possible for me.
I feel like it's another thing, like, with Run, like, you had to get used to. I feel like once people get used to it, it won't be nearly as bad. Give it a week or two, and everyone will be fucking fine with it. But I do see it as a problem for learning other characters. Like, not everyone is going to have that type of muscle memory, but I think, like, if they did make it the same button, you would know immediately, like, what button you would need to do, just the different direction or whatever. It's just like, down, back one, okay, he uses one for this. It's like, that would make it a lot easier, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's definitely going to require you to practice a character a little more to get those down, which, I mean, you're going to be doing anyways, but I definitely see it as when you're first starting out with a character, it's going to be a lot of, oh, wait, what was that? What do I got to do here? Pausing and then trying to figure out. So I don't like that aspect of it. But all in all, I don't think it's going to be it's not a showstopper by any means if they don't change it. If they stay the course, it's still going to be a fun ass game. This is not like I said, it's not a showstopper, but I do hope they at least take precaution with it and come up with a backup plan just in case it does have negative effects in the long run, so that way they're prepared to deal with it. And I think by the end of the beta, we should have that data. After people have played it for a week, people should obviously, maybe it isn't so bad. You know, maybe we did knee-jerk reaction, or maybe it really is truly that bad.
Yeah, I could hate this. Like, I have no idea yet.
Yeah. So, but I agree. Give it time. Knee-jerk reactions happen, and oftentimes they can be a bad thing. So sometimes you shut things down that could have worked out in the end. So I agree. Give it a little time to breathe.
It's not time for petitions on change.org.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I call people babies in the chat, but that's who I was referring to. I was referring to the people who made a fucking petition on this. Like, come on, like, man.
Remember when change.org was supposed to be this beacon for serious causes, and now it's like every single time a video game is not to your satisfaction 100%. Oh, dude, my God, my poor little world.
It's the same as Kickstarter. It's like it started out as this thing for these big causes, and then now it's in these big projects. Now it's like, hey, yeah, I just want to be able to go to this football game. Can you guys
fund my ham sandwich?
Yeah.
Give me some money.
Pretty much.
I like when change.org opened, wasn't it like President Obama will read the petition?
Some shit like that. I don't know.
But yeah, so hopefully we give it a little time. Like I said, by the end of the beta, we should have a better feel for all of these things. And yeah, some people get a little crazy with that stuff. There's already one pro player that already swore off MK11 if they didn't change, like put run back in the game or something crazy like that. So
Well, they can get fucked.
My feelings. I
Yeah.
want every game to be buff my main, nerf my bad matchup. Fuck yourself.
and more mix-ups. Yeah, I don't remember who it was, but anyways, on that note, we got through a lot on this, and it's been a great episode. In my opinion, we talked about some good stuff and shared some
Man, we
opinions.
did not shut up tonight.
No, we kept it rolling.
This is a long one.
And thanks, Down for coming on. I thought you were great on here. Thanks for offering your opinion and getting a different perspective on some of these things. That's kind of what our show tries to be, is between all of us, we try and represent different opinions. We don't always agree on things, and that's a good thing, because then you're representing more people in the community. I'm sure you're not the only one that is saying, give it a chance, and that it could work out. And I agree with you to an extent as well. So
and
hopefully,
it's like really beautiful here. Like, this pro move thing aside, these enhanced moves, there's just like almost nothing but love for what people are saying.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
It's
this
like
game-
it's the dashes and the pro moves. That's literally like all people.
That's
do.
it.
it's such
That's all it is.
it's very, very minimal under the hood tinkering that people are asking for. So yeah, they've gotten the core of this game. They've nailed it. So I hope it all works out. I hope the meta shakes out in the long run. It's not people love it at first and then they hate it after they realize that there's just this glaring issue with it. I hope this is one that we can all agree on is the best Mortal Kombat at the end of the day. After all the DLC is given, the roster's amazing, the story delivers in a direction that we want and gives us some awesome moments between the characters. The gameplay's fantastic. The visuals are going to be top-notch no matter what. So, yeah, I think there's a lot to love here. And we're all super excited. Cannot wait to play. We're about 2 months from the beta-ish.
It's all I can think about right now.
Yeah.
is just playing this fucking game.
I agree with you, man. I like I said, it ruined. I was having fun with MKX and the idea of playing other games, but once I got my hands on it, now I'm just like, I can't.
No, I feel like if you're going to be playing MKX to get yourself up in shape for MK11, don't.
No.
You're just going to mess yourself up
literally.
when 11 comes out.
It'd be better to
like-
play Injustice than
Yeah.
Like Injustice or MK9. If you
Yeah,
want to get yourself
MK9.
ready to go up to 11, play MK9, because going from X to 11 is going to be a really rude awakening, people, trust me.
Yeah.
I have seen Gearus juggle someone with the same jab in the corner, like Johnny and Nine.
I saw that too.
It happens.
That is
like
so sick.
silly corner jab juggles have kind of been a thing since like MK2 or like Ultimate 3,
They were super prominent in
itself-
MK9.
That in itself is not a surprise. It's just like
This
9
game-
and 10 made a science.
It's still Mortal Kombat. I mean,
It's
is
still
still
awesome.
Mortal Kombat. Like this, when everybody gets their hands on this, come beta time, you're gonna play it and you're gonna be like, whoa, this feels weird. But at the end of the day, it's still Mortal Kombat. You will find everything you love about Mortal Kombat over the years. It's still gonna be there. Maybe some of the things have changed, like no more neutral jump punch, but I mean that's not something that was there from the start anyways. So it's still Mortal Kombat at its core. It's just taking pieces from throughout the series as well as things from other series that work really well. And it's delivering a new Mortal Kombat. It feels familiar, yet it feels super fresh, which I am thankful for. I do not want to play the same game over again, and that's something NRS is always great about. Sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. I think with MKX, obviously, it didn't in some degrees, but with MK11, I think they really have done so many things right from all aspects of the game. And yeah, I look forward to this.
It's so fluid,
much.
guys. It's got so much weight. It's so crunchy. The animations are good. There's impact behind the blows. You're not going to be disappointed.
We're gonna have a
I'm
blast
jealous.
online. We're gonna have a fucking. It's gonna be great. I'm not gonna play D4 or Temp once, especially not Django. Yeah, no, it's gonna be a blast, and we're gonna have fun, and yeah, I cannot wait, and we will get there. So on that note, thanks everybody for tuning in. Once again, check out the Discord if you haven't already. Thanks for everybody listening live. It is fantastic for you guys to do that and support us. That's great. And on that
Thank
note,
you for helping us get this far, and
yes.
peace out to all of you who have listened to us and stayed listening to us throughout all these years. And I wish I could have just taken you all in a big bag and brought you all to the reveal myself. I'm so excited. I really am.
Yes, and hopefully everybody enjoyed this. Like I said, this was hopefully making up for a rocky 100th episode. This one was supposed to kind of rekindle that love and enjoy just everything about Mortal Kombat. So on that note, thanks everyone for tuning in. We will see you guys next week for episode 202 102. And by that time, we will have seen Cabal and potentially more. So take care.
Hell yeah. Peace.
Have yourself a good night, folks.
Good night.
Fatality.